and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family owned with integrity since 1981.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND. Chicago.
There are two Republican senators, that are going to upend the most successful DOJ in American history, prosecuting thousands of fraudsters, thousands of drug dealers, cartel members. And yet two never-Trumper Republicans are going to upend Todd Blanche. Why would they do that? And the reason is they don't like what Donald Trump represents, and it's not what you think. We'll discuss that and so much more after Mike Scott in the news.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. An officer's weapon fired during an arrest attempt in Chicago's North Lawndale neighborhood early this morning. Chicago police say officers were trying to arrest a man for possession of a stolen vehicle in the 1600 block of South Drake when the man tried to disarm the officer and the officer's weapon discharged. A man stabbed and wounded two tourists Tuesday near the ancient Acropolis in Athens, Greece. Despite a false positive, the FDA says it still believes lettuce from Taylor Farms could be linked to a cyclosporiasis outbreak across much of the country. Acting FDA Commissioner Kyle Diamantis.
Taco Bell, based on that strong supply chain management, epidemiology, and traceback, removed product from their stores from Taylor Farms de Mexico last Thursday. And last Friday, Taylor Farms themselves instituted a voluntary recall of that very product.
Cubs and Tigers at Wrigley tonight. White Sox in Texas. The news a service of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. For over 52 years, Woodland has been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, featuring styles ranging from modern to traditional. Visit woodlandwindows.com to get started today. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages ending higher, helped by a recovery in chip stocks as investors get in gear for earnings reports from some of the country's biggest tech companies on Wednesday, including Alphabet, Tesla, and IBM. Semiconductors and memory chip makers climbed for a second day. Energy stocks rose along with the price of oil, with West Texas Intermediate crude up over $84 a barrel. Shares of 3M surged 7% after the industrial conglomerate beat earnings expectations and raised its full-year guidance. And shares of SpaceX rose over 2%, snapping its 7-session losing streak. The Dow winners, Goldman Sachs, Caterpillar, and United Health Group. The Dow decliners, Microsoft, Boeing, and Salesforce. The Dow up 385 points, the Nasdaq higher by 329, S&P 500 up 66. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Larry Elder doesn't hear anything from the Democrats.
When people get elected who are members of the Democrat Socialists of America, when you have people denouncing capitalism and promoting socialism, free buses, free health care, free housing, national rent control. Have you heard anybody in the Democratic Party other than John Fetterman push back? Look in the mirror.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
If you're looking for a place to grow spiritually in the middle of a busy life, intouch.org is designed for you. Explore practical, biblical teaching from Dr. Charles Stanley, daily devotionals, free study guides, and messages that speak to real-life challenges. Whether you're searching for direction, comfort, or a deeper understanding of God's Word, you'll find tools to help you take the next step. Discover resources that meet you right where you are at intouch.org.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Today, we tip our wrench to Rock Auto customer Dylan.
I actually used to manage a parts department for a car dealership, and we would get stuff from Rock Auto if I couldn't get it from my dealership suppliers. You pick the year, you go through all the drop-down menus, and it just makes it really easy to navigate and see what you want. Like a wheel bearing, for instance, for a Corvair that I have. Rock Auto's catalog made it really easy to find that specific one that I was looking for.
All the parts your car will ever need, Rock Auto.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You push yourself in everything you do, scanning headlines for insights, keeping an eye on the market. Robinhood puts you in control of your money, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Northbound Route 53 is still shut down between Northwest Highway and Palatine Road because of a crash. Solid from Algonquin. I will let you know when that reopens. On the outbound Edens, no troubles to report. The Kennedy downtown to the airport, 40 minutes. And the outbound Eisenhower 50, post office to 390. Stevenson going out 50. Due Saba Lakeshore Drive out to 355. Accident reported outbound Ryan at 59. It's 30 minutes out, slowing in the Express 43rd to Marquette. Another accident reported outbound 57 at 127th. Busy either way on DuSable Lakeshore Drive and the Tri-State either direction, but the other tollways are in good shape. This report is a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency providing high-performing digital solutions to surround your target audience. Go to surroundchicago.com today. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with cooler temperatures, reaching a low of 60. On Wednesday, anticipate hazy sunshine and lower humidity levels with a high of 74. Wednesday night will bring a crystal clear sky with temperatures dropping back down to 60. Thursday is set to be mostly sunny and delightful with a high of 79. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
What he represents is what they hate. And it's not a developer. It's not a brash billionaire with a complicated hairdo. What he represents is the idea someone can win the presidency without being cultivated in the culture of corruption that is politics. That's what they hate. Do you ever notice the never-Trumper frauds? Those establishment half-assed Republicans. I don't even know what the hell that means, Republican. They never wanted to stop the steal of our money. And it starts really the exponential grab of policies created to be graft starts with one scallywag from Chicago.
The allegations are so absurd that even Republican-controlled committees, looking into it, have dismissed them. And, Attorney General Barr has dismissed them. But
Bill Barr, whose father was the dean that hired an unqualified college dropout by the name of Epstein to be a teacher in a very exclusive all-boys college. You see, this is the culture of corruption that we are supposed to pretend is our representation. You're supposed to pretend that fat, useless child of an insider, Bill Barr, he's got the best interest of the country. Oh, you mean the way his father did? The way he did? The way the Bushes did? The ones who have always undermined the people. You know, most of us are old enough, hopefully, to remember Ronald Reagan. Do you know the reason it's called voodoo economics when Reagan would talk about capitalism or trickle down? That was George Bush Sr., that crooked rat pig. George Bush Sr. ran against Reagan, undermined him at every turn. And when he became the nominee in order for the National Republican Party, the GOP, to give Reagan money, he had to put Bush Sr. as his VP. He didn't want to do that. Everybody knew what Bush Sr. was. A step and fetch. Say it to your face, stab you in the back. Read my lips. There will be no new taxes. Not 30 days later, like a schizophrenic Democrat overweight woman, raises the taxes. And that was normal. That's what they want to get back to. Now, Tillis and, what's his name, Squirrel? Connor? Whatever. The guy from Texas, the senator, who lost. He's lame duck. This is what they're going to do. They have until November to obstruct every move. So when it comes to appointing Donald Trump's appointee, arguably the most successful in the shortest period of time, Todd Blanche.
Today we are here to announce the results of the 2026 National
Cornyn.
Healthcare Fraud Takedown. This announcement marks the greatest combined federal and state effort in combating healthcare fraud in history. Thanks to the leadership of President Trump and the Vice President and all those folks standing behind me and next to me.
Well, what happened when, after Joe Biden stole the 2020 election and Republicans get all this steam like the Tea Party? Why didn't you talk about this? The same thing that happened after Obamacare. That's what happened. And Todd Blanche, never working in government, goes into a very important position and arrests more criminals, degenerates, thieves who are stealing billions and billions of dollars, distributing drugs across the country. He has done more and been more of a success as an AG than any other AG in the history of America. Why would two Republicans, Tillis?
Senator, you've received almost $700,000 from the illegal labor lobby. Is that why you voted against the Save America Act?
Can you tell me who the illegal labor lobby is?
Yes, it's contractors, general contractors, hospitality companies, industries, construction companies and industries.
How much do you know about the which Save America Act are you talking about?
The one that you voted against, sir.
Okay. And so you're asking
they don't even know
if I voted, I was against it because
you're receiving almost $700,000 from these lobbyists.
Do you have any idea what a remarkably silly question that is?
I think it's a pretty important one. I think your constituents want to know why you're betraying them.
Some math. Do you know what my election cycle, the total all-in election cycle cost was in 2020? It's $300 million. Do you honestly believe that I would make a policy decision based on that?
I don't.
Yes. I think you'd hit your mother in the face if she was standing on $50. What the frack kind of retort is that? You took that $700,000 and you want people to believe, well, it doesn't mean anything because it's only $700,000? And by the way, you said cycle. So that means the other side too? Or does that just mean the money you get to keep in your coffer? And it's the same thing for Cornyn. And these are the never-Trumper obstructionists that are working tirelessly to not just stop the SAVE Act. By the way, anybody hear from Mitch? Yo, Mitch! How you doing today? You do your push-ups this morning? Dead. Did anybody hear from Tillis? Cornyn? Did you hear from these guys about why they want to upend the most successful attorney general in this country's history in the shortest period of time? Anybody?
Two really important ones. The first is, in the first quarter of last year, we revoked billing privileges for fraudsters of 1,006 providers. Pretty good result, we thought, at the time. This same period this year, the first quarter, we made 1,400 revocations. That's a 40% increase over last year. So 40% more revocations. We also have payment suspensions where we just don't pay the bill because we don't think it's legitimate. This is impressive. The first half of this year, we made 1,000 Medicare payment suspensions. 1,000. That's a lot of people. Nearly 800, by the way, from one state, California. For a similar period last year, we made 219 suspensions. So a fivefold, 500% increase in payment suspensions because we're using tools now that historically had been used marginally. Now, these efforts brand all kinds of new tools for Medicare and Medicaid. The fraud war room that has been put together is a purpose-built tool to identify, track, and neutralize bad actors, often from foreign countries, much more effectively than the old system.
In just Minnesota, the fraud is in excess of $11 billion. Billion with a B. That's $11,000 million. Just stolen. Just stolen. And yet still, the Marxist mafia, who's pretending to be shocked by the idea that they're out of the closet communists now. They're going to get rid of the Senate and the rest of it. They're still promising to expand these very boondoggles, the very policies that were created to be frauded, to be stolen from the future. This isn't redistribution of taxes anymore. This is how you get the $30 trillion in 18 years. They created policy. When I say they, the government, Republicans and Democrats, specifically Democrats under Obama, and specifically, created all of this so that it would be extremely difficult for us to ever have justice, ever have prosecutions. And that's the same reason Republicans are obstructing Todd Blanche.
There are 5 things House Democrats are going to do once we have the majority. We're going to push for Medicare for all.
You know who this is, Squirrel? The greatest trader in all of speculation, in all of gambling, and everything to do with what made us the youngest and the richest country, because we could allow people to buy a piece of different companies. It was a great thing. And then government said, you know what? Why don't we corrupt it? And we'll create grants, policies, and tax abatements, and we'll give it to specific companies. But only after Ro Khanna, Nancy Pelosi, and other scums become very rich. $170 million in insider trading profit in just 7 years. Ro Khanna doubling his net worth, which, by the way, he got from his wife. Woof.
There are 5 things House Democrats are going to do once we have the majority. We're going to push for Medicare for all. Health care is a human right. We're going to push for a living wage. We need a living wage by 2032 that will get to $25 an hour. We're going to push for unions, for the right of every person to join a union, and for...
What the frack does that mean? You want to join a union? Join a union. What he means is he'll point for the absolute regulatory necessity for unions to be involved in all these services, not just the ones where they middle a son taking care of his mother so Medicare pays enough so that everybody gets their beak wet and we get robbed of billions and billions. Don't worry, SEIU suck-ons. You'll get your beak wet.
Federal contractors to be labor neutral and recognize unions. We're going to push for child care
right
at $10
here, I got
a
your
day.
union. Right
and we're
here.
going to push to end aid to Israel that committed a genocide in Gaza.
How come we're not going to push to investigate insider trading? How come we're not going to arrest scum the way Todd Blanche has been doing it? And the reason is Barack Obama's got it just the way he wants it. He can steal money and elections. Can't you, Barack? Well, he likes a big, broad squirrel. Likes a small waist on a broad with big, wide shoulders. He likes a girl that looks a lot like a guy.
You know, this is an example, I think, of a larger problem.
Is it her feet? Those are large, and I would assume they smell like a problem. Woof!
Well, two larger problems.
There are 2 of them.
Which don't get as much attention, understandably, when you've got high unemployment and a pandemic raging.
Well, she looks silly, squirrel, with small feet. How would she balance? It's impossible. Yardstick of ass crack.
Because it doesn't touch people's day-to-day lives, but one of the central foundation stones of a democracy is the idea that you do not allow the politicization of the criminal justice system.
Boy, that makes you want your head pop off. Do you mean like that big fat meat face girl who pretends to be a judge in Milwaukee and hid a little illegal alien underneath her robe, which, by the way, kid, if you want to earn your citizenship the rough way, there's no rougher way than under her robe. Or you're talking about the 3 crooked-ass judges that overturned jury convictions of these Somalian pirates stealing our money. Or are you talking about the legacy in decades, 100 years of laughable corruption right there in Crook County? Be specific, will you, Barack?
The intelligence system, the military, right? That is stuff that you keep out of politics.
Is it? Is it, though? You know, this is the thing, right? Never forget, Squirrel, when you talk to these gypsy liars, thieves, and frauds, any Democrat, the accusation is the practice, is true. But once they're in the corner, then they give a little jujitsu to the reality of how they operate, because that's all this traitor, this thief, this fraud ever did.
The implications of this are, frankly, nothing short of historic. Over 100 documents that we released really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office, after President Trump had already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue that is so serious it should concern every single American.
Obama administration. It doesn't concern every single American because we have, in at least 10% of the counties, the same ones that would vote for a pickle jar, like in Maine for senator, the same thieving ones in Minnesota, forget about Illinois, flush it, or California, those 10%, and that's it, only 10% of the counties that want to steal our money. That's what they call their economy. And that cancer has spread to great states. Therein lies the problem. Why else would no Democrats, none, go to any of the hearings about fraud? Have you heard one elected Democrat say, I demand the money back, I want to see prosecutions, ever? Have you seen one? Of course not, because that's the only way they can get rich, by stealing other people's money. 312-642-5600.
He's Shaun Thompson.
Hello, Mr. Thompson.
And this is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-431-2715. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-431-2715. 800-431-2715. 800-431-2715.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1862, Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Act, helping states create colleges focused on agriculture, mechanics, science, and practical education. The principle was not centralized control, it was opportunity. Lincoln's Morrill Act reminds us that America can support education without surrendering education to Washington. Why did it matter? Because a free nation needs citizens equipped to work, build, steward, and govern themselves. Scripture gives work a sacred weight. In Genesis, God placed man in the garden to work it and to keep it. Proverbs honors the one who works his land. Paul warns against idleness and calls believers to earn their bread. Why does that still matter today? Because education should form capable people under God, not dependent subjects under bureaucracy.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today. AM 560, The Answer.
Stop trying to entice me and get me to dance, Squirrel, because I'll do it. Especially to this. What are you, nuts? This is when everybody, and I mean everybody, wouldn't tolerate the kind of thieving that is normal in Washington, D.C. They wouldn't tolerate it. There was a certain standard, but you have to remember, Squirrel, when that music was playing, do you know what a scandal was? A scandal was $1 trillion in debt. $1 trillion. Barack Obama, the dimwit in diapers, $30 trillion in 18 years. The vast majority stolen.
The allegations are so absurd that even Republican-controlled committees, looking into it, have dismissed them. And
were those Republican-controlled committees? Were they controlled by Cornyn? Were they controlled by Tillis? Were they controlled by other never-Trumper frauds? Because every Republican, every person of character recognized what was happening after Joe Biden had successfully stolen the 2020 election.
Breaking tonight, a Fox News exclusive. We have new information that appears to directly contradict the Biden administration's insistence it had nothing to do with the Justice Department investigations into then former President Trump's alleged retention of classified material and the
Squirrel, you remember the Biden administration. You remember, right?
You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I mean, you seem no, it works. Or or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon or whatever, something, or whether those aliens are here or not.
Did he have to rub your legs? Creepy traitor bastard.
Subsequent raid on his Mar-a-Lago home. Correspondent David Spont has details tonight. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening to you. These emails obtained by Fox News paint a different picture of the relationship between the Biden White House and the Biden Justice Department. These two offices made it clear at the time, at least publicly, they were not connected and stayed away from any political interference. However, new emails obtained by Fox News from May 2022, 3 months before Mar-a-Lago was raided by the FBI, illustrates coordination between the White House counsel's office and the DOJ regarding an interview of Walt Nauta. Now, remember.
So now that's proof, prima facie evidence beyond the shadow of a doubt, that whole thing was orchestrated from. We now know Barack Obama, who likes a big-footed woman, broad shoulders, narrow waist. He did the same thing in 2016, only with the CIA. The CIA and the NSA and a bunch of three-letter agencies.
You go to odni.gov, people who say, well, Tulsi, this is just your view or your interpretation. No, it's all in hundreds of pages of documents that I've declassified and released that show point by point exactly what happened through this timeline that showed this very dangerous thing that occurred in the creation of Russiagate, the creation of this manufactured intelligence assessment that essentially had the intent of undermining the voices and votes of the American people who elected Donald Trump.
Just like they do in Chirac for 100 years, or New York or New Jersey. Pick a Democrat enclave that now is beyond any kind of saving or any kind of quality of life. The ghetto developers are the Democrats and always have been. And the whole thing never made any sense. You remember, Squirrel. Classified documents, he's the fracking president. He could do whatever he wants when it comes to not classified, classified. He gets to decide. You know who doesn't? A crooked senator. A crooked senator with dementia. He doesn't get to decide.
So during this time, we were living in Chambers Road, and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden cancer moonshot or your book. Where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
Well,
this is from the interview. Listen to this idiot.
I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying.
He died in 2015, moron.
And so it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. I'm not a mean thing to say. I mean, he just.
I'm playing this because there are allegations, not just by J.B. Pritzker, who never did a thing in his life, that somehow Trump has got an illness. There's all kinds of allegations out there. Everybody knew, including Tillis and John Cornyn. Where were they when Joe Biden was soiling the Oval Office? Where were they when Barack Obama was not only backdoor nationalizing our health care, but setting up these schemes so we're robbed hundreds of billions of dollars? 312-642-5600.
He believes in freedom, capitalism, and individual liberty. And because of that, he's become an enemy of the state. He's Shaun Thompson, and this is The Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $283. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1862, Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Act, helping states create colleges focused on agriculture, mechanics, science, and practical education. The principle was not centralized control, it was opportunity. Lincoln's Morrill Act reminds us that America can support education without surrendering education to Washington. Why did it matter? Because a free nation needs citizens equipped to work, build, steward, and govern themselves. Scripture gives work a sacred weight. In Genesis, God placed man in the garden to work it and to keep it. Proverbs honors the one who works his land. Paul warns against idleness and calls believers to earn their bread. Why does that still matter today? Because education should form capable people under God, not dependent subjects under bureaucracy.
Starting to get excited, Squirrel. I just drove past it on 355. I was driving past on my way to smoke a cigar, yell at some Democrats, and there it was, the Westin in Itasca. Right behind it is the Lakeside Pavilion. August 28th, it's free. Our family picnic. Really, that's what it is. It's called Shaun Fest, but that's what it is. It's for us. I guarantee you 5 hours of moron-free environment where we do the show live. There'll be cigars. Food will be available. Drinks will be available. It's free to attend. There will be a band that plays on the intermissions. We're going to sing the national anthem together. And all you have to do is go to 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest. That's it. Just register so we know who you are, so we could tell them how much food they have available, how much drink they have available, and more importantly, how many seats we can have, how many different people we can fit there. It fits thousands, so I'm expecting you to show up in mass. Go to 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest. There is no charge to go, but you do have to register. One of my producers, Honey Bunny and Squirrel Hands, in case you're asked any kind of question, make sure you're not a bot. August 28th in Itasca. See you there. And let's give a special thanks to our sponsors. We'll have tables there, some sponsors too. For instance, Virago will be there. LeavingI-L.com will be there. State Farm Insurance Agent Anthony DeGrotto, he'll be there. Unique Wooden Flags, Class A Insurance owned by Tommy and TJ Iaquinta, they'll be there for sure. And you know Randy Donnelly, that handsome son of a gun, will be there. We'll all be there. It's our family party, August 28th. 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest. 312-642-5600. When we get back, I'll take your calls after Mike.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Hazy with a steady breeze and a high of 84. Charges pending today for a man accused of shooting a woman and a Chicago police SWAT officer in Chicago's Albany Park community yesterday. That SWAT officer, shot in the stomach, is in stable condition. Police continue looking for 2 persons of interest after a shooting in Highland Park. Shooting happened yesterday in the 300 block of Walker Avenue. 2 independent candidates for U.S. Congress could find out today if their names will be on the November ballot. Illinois election officials say Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez and Mayra Macias do not have enough petition signatures to be on the November ballot to replace Congressman Chuy Garcia. The news, a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family-owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com, Northwest Indiana's leading home builder. Steiner Homes. Love where you live. Next news is at 5. Continuous news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. And up next, a check of the afternoon commute in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jill Urchak.
On the outbound Edith, there are no reported delays. The Kennedy downtown to O'Hare, 38 minutes. There are tie-ups in the Express, California to Keeler. Going out on the Eisenhower, 50 minutes out to 390 from the post office. And the Stevenson, a 45-minute trip to Sabo Lakeshore Drive out to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Southbound 55, there is an accident reported at Weber Road, slowing down from 355 in the outbound Ryan, 30 minutes. The Express stop and go, Pershing to Marquette. Heavy outbound Ford, 115th to Beaubien Woods, and very heavy conditions along the tri-state as well as to Sabo Lakeshore Drive either direction. Jane Addams is fine on the Reagan, no troubles. 355, not too bad northbound, slowing down into a Southwest Highway with a stall off to the shoulder. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with cooler temperatures reaching a low of 60. On Wednesday, anticipate hazy sunshine and lower humidity levels with a high of 74. Wednesday night will bring a crystal clear sky and a low of 60. Thursday is set to be mostly sunny and delightful with a high of 79. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at progressive.com.
Want to see my drawers?
He means the drawers of the Briley bedroom from Penny Mustard.
Not all drawers are created equal, but the Briley bedroom's drawers are equally awesome. With full extension drawer glides and sturdy bottoms that are 3/8 of an inch thick. And that's good because nothing's worse than when your bottom falls out.
He means your drawer bottom.
But the Briley bedroom is more than just drawers.
I love the flared feet and how the shape of the headboard matches the mirror.
Along with hundreds of fabric options for the headboard and a variety of hardware. And drawer bottom strong enough to stand on. You know, if we dedicate this much time to the drawers, just imagine how well constructed the rest of the Briley bedroom must be. What are you waiting for? Come see my drawers. The Briley bedroom, American made with a queen bed, dresser, mirror, and nightstand, starting at $99.33 at Penny Mustard.
7 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com. Better versions of the drawers people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you. Would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Estate jewelry, vintage watches, sell worldwide for true auction value. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
You're never going to convert a thief. They want to steal your money. All you can control is who says they oppose it. And when you look, and when history looks back at these scoundrels, these never-Trumper fraud scoundrels, these career politicians, and how they held the door open for Barack Obama and Joe Biden to steal and misappropriate trillions of dollars, I hope they get the names right.
The senator didn't say who he intends to support, but he did double down on who he believes the Republican Party should not nominate, and that is former President Donald Trump.
Cornyn saying, I think President Trump's time has passed him by. And he adds, I don't think President Trump understands that when you run in a general election, you've got to appeal to voters beyond your base.
President Trump.
When I tell you in 2020, 30 million votes vanished, 30 million votes flipped for that moron that couldn't speak in sentences.
Thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did. And so I hadn't at this point, even though I'm at Penn, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I may run for office again. But if I ran again, I'd be running for president. And so what was happening though, what month did Bo die? May 30th, 2018. Was it 2015 he died? I think it's 2015. I think it's 2015.
I'm not sure the months are, but I think that was.
Yeah.
That's right, Mr. President.
And what's happened in the meantime is that
Are you listening to this? He's the sitting president.
Trump gets
Stupid son of a...
in November of 2017. 2016. All right. So. 2017 here.
That's when you left office, January of 2017.
Okay. But that's when Trump gets sworn in.
Right. Right. Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the sitting fracking president doing an interview about how he was a traitor and a thief his entire life. You know, with all these economic troubles and tribulations in the Democrat-run areas, how come nobody's asking the Renaissance man, crack smoker with his fake new teeth, Hunter?
I would tell him to go his self. That's what I would tell him. As President of the United States, well, obviously, wouldn't you want to have a constructive that? This man has tried to torture me for 10 years. He says the that he says about my dad.
Your dad's a traitor and a thief, and so are you. How come nobody's asking him? What was he in the movie business? He was in the energy business. He was in the banking business. You did a lot of businesses, huh, scumbag?
Now, this Fox Business exclusive, Hunter Biden and a former Biden aide invested in 2 Chinese companies with ties to the top levels of the Chinese Communist Party and its military.
Hey, Hunter.
Emails
Hey,
show
Hunter.
that as
What are you doing? What are you doing now? You busy? Got a lot of stuff going on next week. A lot of meetings.
The that he says about my dad, his obsession with tormenting my dad, hanging a picture of an auto pen on the colonnade, demeaning him, and all
demeaning him. He demeaned himself. Couldn't speak in sentences. Not only that, the evidence is beyond undeniable.
Is it not true that Joe Biden won the 2020 election?
Senator, it is true that the 2020 election resulted in the certification of Joe Biden as president. But if you will allow me, since you want to bring up 2020, 3,930 double scan ballots in Fulton County. 39,000 residents of Fulton County who had filed a national change of address form with the U.S. Post Office voted in that election. We know that 84% of those 39,000, either by their own admission or the filing of a new voter registration, were likely ineligible to vote in that election. We know that 315,000 ballot tapes were not certified and maintained a chain of custody as they were supposed to. And we know that there are thousands of missing ballot images from the 2020 election. The data.
That is just Georgia. I mean, come on. Have a little faith in your fellow American. Everybody knew what he was.
And Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce it, Shanga Kawawa.
And right then, 3 Secret Service agents with a diaper bag come running in their room, throw him up on one of those little Kawawa tables, feet dangling in the air. Scumbag. George, Naperville.
Yeah, Shaun, Biden was a crook, and at the end, he was a cuckoo crook.
Yes, I'll say he was. Still meandering around, somehow keeping him alive with Viagra, formaldehyde, and Starbucks shot right into his eyeballs. Corey Woodlawn.
Hey, thanks for taking the call, Shaun. You know, there was a politician in England that pretty much said that Donald Trump is going to be the only elected official to go down for doing exactly what his voters called him to do. And that's the reason why I can't abandon this man. He was never part of that sycophant class in Washington, D.C. Like you've just proven soon is, these guys refuse to pass something that they know that their voters need and want badly. That's a shame.
You've got 2 states that just in Medicaid fraud, Medicare fraud, just 2 states, California and Minnesota, $200 billion, 200,000 million stolen. And not one frickin' politician wants to go get that money? Get the hell. That's enough for me, kid. That's when you realize who the real enemy is. And why not? Look at what you do with the most corrupt administrations, the most corrupt politicians. You know what they do, Squirrel? They go to different states and campaign for people. Like the 9-finger Yakuza. You did not blend in Nebraska, scumbag.
Says she knows where she came, she knows who she represents, she knows why she's going to Washington. You got too many people over there just sitting around acting like a rubber
Cut his
stamp.
finger off, you frickin' idiot.
And the corruption in Washington is costing the families in Nebraska, the families right here in Omaha, real money. So if you want to see an increase in the minimum wage, Denise.
Hey, Omaha, go ahead. Chicago, Nebraska. I dare you. Vote for that scumbag he's endorsing. And welcome to the party.
The Johnson administration's mid-year budget update is projecting a $98 million shortfall. Now,
that's fracking slippage. That's scumbag and those band of thieves. Brandon Johnson and the 50 thieves stealing hundreds of millions. Jim in Lake County.
Hey, namaste, Shawnee.
Namaste. I had a little argument with 2 ladies in yoga pants that I'm going to tell you something, kid. You could have pulled your Volkswagen in the size. How big do they sell those things?
It's all about the flex, okay? About the flex.
They're not for everybody, ladies. Go ahead.
My call is about the FIFA, the soccer games, the halftime show.
You mean a bunch of guys without a job kicking a ball at RVs? Did you ever see the size of the goal? It's the size of an RV.
The crazy thing is, halftime is all about love, and then what happens at the end? They're going for each other's necks, and the game is over, right? What's this about? It's imitation sugar.
I can't imagine, honestly, being this. How you see these people they're on full tilt. It's amazing to me how people could sit there, go Argentina, go Spain, Do they know that the Argentinians are Spaniards? Who the hell are you rooting for? Go Southside! Yay! It's all ridiculous to me, Jim, but what do I know? I'm not a sports guy. Grown men should not watch other grown men in costumes chasing balls. I'm just saying. This is the only sport there is. This is the sport that determines the quality of life for your ancestors. And while everybody's been watching balls bouncing around, this is the sport that added $30 trillion in the guaranteed extortion of your great-grandkids you have not met yet. And all of these scumbags like Ro Khanna have used their positions to not only sell bulldog.
There are 5 things House Democrats are going to do once we have the majority. We're going to push for Medicare for all. Health care is a human right.
How much money has he made?
This is worse than I thought. This guy, Ro Khanna from California, since he's been in office, he is averaging 17 trades every single trading day.
Every day,
for
today.
An average of $16,500 per trade.
Perfect.
17 trades a day,
the
every
Babe Ruth
single
of insider
day.
trading.
For holy, how is that possible?
It's not.
I'm sorry, but even if you have somebody doing this for you, how can you 17 trades a day, 2,000 days since you've been in office? 17 trades a day for an average of $16,500.
And where's all the AGs? Ferret-faced Garland, you didn't know? Hey, you didn't know? You didn't know that he was stealing? Insider trading $170 million. Nobody knew? Because it's one giant frickin' country club. And they'll let any liar, thief, or scumbag in it. 312-642-5600.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
This is Captain Baker from the Sheriff's Office.
Hello, officer.
We have a report of missing employees at Hassleus Mattress.
That's right.
You're confessing?
Yes, I'm confessing that Hassleus Mattress showrooms are employee-free.
Come again?
Shop for Beauty Rest and Sealy Posturepedic without commission-crazy salespeople breathing down your neck.
Sounds suspicious.
That's how we keep our prices way low.
How low?
Others sell a Beauty Sleep by Beauty Rest Queen Elm Cove A mattress for $1,599. But Hassleus has it for just $794. Plus, similar savings on Sealy Posturepedic and more.
That's criminally low.
And through Monday, trade in your old mattress and take $248 off a queen and $348 off a king.
You wouldn't lie to a cop, would you?
Free next day delivery, too.
Dispatch, I need a police escort for a Hassleus Mattress delivery truck to my house.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at hassleus.com.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. New York has recently created their version of Canada's assisted suicide regimen, and it has put religious providers squarely in its crosshairs. Several groups have banded together to stop the medical aid in dying legislation as it forces them to participate in suicide. Hochul tried to deny this, claiming that faith-based providers can opt out of the program. Catholic nuns discovered, however, that the law requires all providers to coordinate assisted suicide in their facilities and to give access to doctors performing it. Starting next month, any healthcare provider who declines to prescribe suicide pills could still have to tell terminally ill patients about their right to kill themselves, help them meet the requirements for obtaining suicide pills, and direct them to a provider willing to prescribe the lethal drugs. The death cult on the left continues to expand its reach and its authoritarianism. We need to stand with the Catholic sisters, again, and fight for life. I'm Ed Morrissey.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and covered selections.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments, just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
AM 560, The Answer.
I mean, really, these Democrat areas, just call Hunter. He sat on the board of an energy company. Nobody's asking him? What do you think, Mo? What do you think about energy? I mean, we know how good the Biden administration did with our strategic reserves, right? You remember all that.
But the fact is, the reason the U.S. cannot release more out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is that it's at a 43-year low right now. The Biden administration drained it of 180 million barrels before the midterm elections in 2022 and never fully refilled it. In a Fox Business exclusive, the current energy undersecretary managing SPR sites says the previous administration also left one of the 4 sites inoperable. Under the undersecretary tells me that this forced the Trump administration to invest more money to move equipment that blocked access to that site.
They purchased equipment and left it on surface and did not install it. Some of that equipment, due to the weather it was exposed to, is no longer useful. So we've completely...
They did the same thing with the wall, the material for the wall. Remember when they let the 20 million, 30 million, who knows what that many fracking millions. Who knows? They're all here stealing our money, though. And I mean, Ollie, I'm talking to you. Every single one of you. The idea that you... no one is aggravated about the money. Here's the good news. The Trump administration is.
Happen again and again and again. Federal law mandates, requires us to pause that funding so that the states fix the problems. That is the story behind today's announcements. In Minnesota and California, our reviews are going back just over the last few years, turned up the same recurring theme again and again, every single quarter, claims in these same high-risk categories that the states have not yet been able to document fully and acceptably to the federal government, claims that are unresolved, and claims that smell like fraud.
Smell like fraud. They're gone. The money's gone.
Look at this number, $146 billion. Health and Human Service officials confirmed that number to Chris Rufo as the staggering amount of fraud in a single program in Gavin Newsom's state Medicaid system. Stop and think about that. $146 billion, a single program, a single state. That is slightly more than Warren Buffett's estimated net worth. It is more than the GDP of several small countries like the Marshall Islands and Dominica, just to name a few.
You know, all you have to do is steal one election. It's all you have to do.
Does the investigation confirm that there are missing ballot images?
Yes.
Yes. Does Fulton County know why there are not 380,761 ballot images from Election Day?
Fulton County made a stunning admission about the 2020 election. After almost 5 years of assuring voters all procedures were followed, it turns out that may not be entirely true.
Fulton County essentially admitted that there were unsigned tabulator tapes. Those are those pieces of paper akin.
And what are the Democrats telling the morons who still don't know that the Democrats are thieves, or they're cut in on it because they don't pay their rent?
Let me be clear. Donald Trump has zero credibility on the issue of election integrity. For the past 10 years, he's cried wolf and peddled bizarre conspiracy theories about fraud with no evidence. I saw the consequences of Trump's...
The evidence is here. Hey, stupid! Look it! Right here! They don't look, squirrel. If they did, and the people who voted Democrat, they would look around at these Democrat areas and say, boy, that looks like a ghetto.
The Johnson administration's mid-year budget update is projecting a $98 million shortfall. Now there is finger-pointing on both sides, with not just jobs, but also an advanced pension payment hanging in the imbalance.
Uh-oh. So what happens then? What happens if the payment doesn't go out? More money, more money, more money. Because somehow it's legal to steal your house to pay this bill.
Mayor Brandon Johnson had a Bronzeville ribbon cutting today, going on the offensive against his city council budget adversary.
Scroll. But yeah, $1, he says particular, and $2, he says corporations. You want a piece of that?
Over who would be responsible for possible city worker layoffs.
We're talking about workers, right? But that's what we talked about during the budget season.
Unite!
The city council
Nazis!
obviously did not place the interests of workers above the interests of these big conglomerate and corporations.
All right, you can owe me. We'll be back.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the Made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
If you're watching the market, you may know that gold has pulled back more than 20% from its recent highs. Silver has fallen even further. History shows that this could be the perfect time to diversify your retirement portfolio to include precious metals like gold and silver. In crisis after crisis over the last 50 years, gold fell first, then surged to new highs as the crisis unfolded. That's why Advantage Gold wants to send you a free gold investment guide valued at $49, plus a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's best-selling book, Our Dollar, Your Problem, when you call 800-900-8000. In today's market, government debt has exploded to nearly $40 trillion, and central banks around the world continue buying gold at record levels. The smart money sees opportunity. If you're considering diversifying a retirement account with precious metals, tax and penalty-free, now is the best time to call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Anthony and John here from Bionic Auto Parts, proud clients of Signature Bank. We deliver high quality, recycled and remanufactured auto parts to Chicago and Milwaukee. Our mission is simple: provide parts safely, reliably, with great customer satisfaction.
We process over 350 vehicles a month. With big banks, everything took forever. Layers of approvals and endless delays. At Signature Bank, one call got it done. Whether it's lending, deposits, or treasury management, they deliver fast. Signature Bank made us feel like family. That's a partnership we deeply appreciate.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
My next guest is a very, very interesting man. Executive producer with Sincere Pictures, vice president with NTD Television. He reports primarily and investigates on the relationship between the Chinese Communist Party and the rest of the world. The new documentary is called Unbroken, the Untold Story of Shen Yun. It's out on Apple TV, Prime Video, and Google Play now. We'll be joined by Steve Lance to discuss that and so much more after News with Mike Scott.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Hazy with a steady breeze and a high of 84. A man stabbed and wounded two tourists Tuesday morning near the ancient Acropolis in Athens, Greece. The assailant, identified only as a 60-year-old Greek man, attacked a Greek-American couple with a knife. The Treasury Department today claimed it stopped almost $100 million in payments to dead people. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
The GAO estimates that it might be, this number might be up to $500 billion, which is about 1.66% of GDP.
The Treasury Department claims it screened more than $800 million in payments so far. Police continue looking for 2 persons of interest. After a shooting in Highland Park yesterday, one person was sent to the hospital. Police are releasing photographs of potential suspects seen talking to the victim just moments before the shooting. Cubs and Tigers at Wrigley, White Sox in Texas. The news a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone or mobile device. Download the app, 560theanswer.com/mobile. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages snapping their 3-session losing streak and finishing near the best levels of the trading session as AI optimism is offsetting Middle East uncertainty. A semiconductor rebound accelerating ahead of big tech earnings that will test the AI trade. The chip rally propelling the S&P 500 back above the 7,500 level, with the index turning positive for July. Oil is gushing as Middle East shipping risks grow, with West Texas Intermediate crude settling around $85 a barrel. The Dow up 385 points, the Nasdaq higher by 329, S&P 500 up 66. And shares of Utz brand surging nearly 89%. The Pennsylvania maker of potato chips and other salty snacks is going private in a merger with German savory snack maker Intersnack Group. Utz's founding families will retain a 50% ownership stake in the combined company. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Everyone walks through seasons of uncertainty, but you don't have to walk through them alone. At intouch.org, you'll find messages of hope, biblical truth, and encouragement from Dr. Charles Stanley, available anytime you need it. Dive into devotionals, watch sermons, or explore resources that help you draw closer to God day by day. When you're ready to refocus your heart and renew your faith, visit intouch.org. It may be exactly what your soul needs today.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson, and last year I hired Level 10 Coatings to give my garage floor a total makeover, and I am loving it. It still looks great, shiny, and clean. Level 10 Coatings. Now, you've got to call these guys if your garage floor is cracked, stained, still covered in salt. Don't live like that. Get it done now so you can enjoy it this summer. Level 10 Coatings. They're fast, reliable, and highly professional. Guess what? I went to work. When I came home, it was done. A shiny, new, gleaming garage floor. A quick, easy fix, and it's guaranteed never to chip or peel. Why? It's not an epoxy job. It's better. Level 10 uses polyurea, which is much better than epoxy. So schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, to receive $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com, or call 855-510-2628. Staff are local and ready to answer questions. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
It's okay if you're going out on the Edens, the Kennedy, downtown to O'Hare, 35 minutes. And the Eisenhower inbound, there's an accident reported at Racine, 45 minutes going in the reverse at 1 hour. Stevenson, 40 minutes out to the Tri-State, 55 out to 355. Southbound 55, an accident at Route 53 in the left lane. Outbound Dan Ryan, 25 minutes. It remains jammed along DuSable Lakeshore Drive either direction. Tri-State 2, busy either way with a stall going north in the right lane. That is before North Avenue. The Jane Addams and Reagan are fine, but It is tight southbound 355. This report is a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency providing high-performing digital solutions to surround your target audience. Go to surroundchicago.com today. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with cooler temperatures, reaching a low of 60. On Wednesday, anticipate hazy sunshine and lower humidity levels with a high of 74. Wednesday night will bring a crystal clear sky with temperatures dropping back down to 60. Thursday is set to be mostly sunny and delightful with a high of 79. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all else. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, I'll read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the
I'm not a sports guy, Squirrel. It's true. I confess. Grown men watching other grown men in costumes chasing balls is not my thing. You know what I watch in my spare time, Squirrel? Documentaries. Oh, I absolutely love them. They're educational, they're informative, and if they're done right, they can change the perspective of nations.
People have called us the #1 show in the world.
Lovely job, guys.
Thank you.
I just hope I can continue this career for as long as I can, because I don't want anything else in the world.
But never would I have imagined what battle I joined.
Hey, buddy. You guys are okay? There's like a huge team of people just combing the seats while we're on stage preparing for the show with dogs and stuff.
Specifically targeting Shen Yun performance.
No one wants to hear a bomb threat to the institution where your children are.
We had a sense of anticipation. We didn't know how it would go.
This is not a normal cut. This was done with the purpose of the tire exploding on the highway.
This is crazy.
These are open Chinese spy organizations.
They've gotten threats to shoot up the performance.
All the noise and all the distractions around you.
This is a machine that can be used against any American.
Why are they doing this? How much more of this are we going to be able to take? We feel like we're at war.
This is not going to stop us. We can't let it stop us.
Sound check.
What can I do to tell people our side? This tour is our chance to do it.
Doesn't matter what the obstacles are.
We're doing this together.
My next guest, executive producer with Sincere Pictures and vice president of NTD Television, where he reports exclusively on U.S.-China relations and foreign influence operations. Steve Lance, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, it's an amazing time to be alive. I really do believe, Steve, this is arguably the best time in world history to be alive for the reason of we know what the enemy is, and we have the opportunity to defeat it with its own history of lies, fraud, and murder. And that enemy is collectivism. And I love what you do in this documentary. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you so much. When you really take a step back and think about this period of time, COVID feels like another lifetime ago, but, 5 short years ago, we were all locked down under, draconian medical tyranny and everything else that came along with that. And you mentioned collectivism, the chief culprit right now on the planet. We defeated, Russia during the Cold War, but we didn't defeat communism. And the largest collective, if you will, is communist China. And they're knocking at our doorstep, and they have been for a long time.
You know what China is? I was lucky enough to live through the Cold War and watch its collapse. And it was fascinating to be around in that era and be young and, pay attention to it. And one of the things that China does far better than the Soviet Union is the facade of legitimacy. The Soviet Union could never pull it off. They might have had a Potemkin village, but their entire government was obviously running on fumes, corruption, drunken support of the people who were trapped as prisoners. Whereas China has a veneer. It appears to be something other than what it is. It's just a polished lipstick on a pig version of the Great Leap Forward, as far as I'm concerned, when you're not free. But then again, look at how smart they were to infiltrate our country. And that's what that's what you're exposing, because it's never what it seems. It always has a veneer of art, a veneer of performance, a veneer of diplomacy. But it really isn't, is it?
Oh, you hit the nail on the head. China's done a great job in propping up their economy. If you visit China, their major cities, Beijing, Shanghai, they're more modernized than any city that we have in terms of architecture and landscaping, and they've created that communist utopia to really dupe our, business leaders and, diplomats to when they go to, look at China, it's open, it's developed, it's great. All the while, they're using the United Front Work Department, the apparatus that is really aimed at penetrating us through all the means that you said. It's Beijing's most insidious and effective tool for global subversion. And unlike the Cold War, as you mentioned, the Russians weren't able to infiltrate our universities. 500,000 Chinese students. They weren't able to infiltrate and influence Hollywood the way they do, changing plots of major Hollywood films. They're not on they weren't on Wall Street. They weren't lobbying our members of Congress on Capitol Hill. But China has somehow managed to do that, and they've made great gains to the real detriment of our country.
Well, and the reason is, and what my conclusion is, but I'm curious to know your conclusion. My conclusion is this. They have to destroy the only country that is built on the citizens' property rights versus the government's, because we represent the youngest, the richest, with the highest quality of life, and the most independent citizens than any other country on the planet. Otherwise, if they were truly successful and communism really worked, they wouldn't care what we did. They wouldn't have to buy our crooked politicians. And let me tell you something, Steve, I've been watching them buy Chicago, as I call them, short in the pants mafia members, Chicago Democrats, since the 80s. They were very in vogue in their infiltration to very specific, most corrupt area-led cities, New York, Chicago, California, because they understood they could buy a politician and still have the veneer of legitimate business while they were torturing their own people back at home that fought for our property rights. So it's very interesting to see that the reason they infiltrate us is because they cannot really compete with us. They have no ingenuity. They have no real productivity, and their workmanship is terrible, isn't it?
I totally agree. I mean, just take the two flags of the two countries, right? What do you think of when you see the American flag? You think of a nation, you think of a people, you think of a culture. What do you think of when you see the blood red Chinese Communist Party's flag? You think of everything that you just said, strife, 80 million unnatural deaths and illegitimate government. And, they come, they infiltrate, they steal our technology, they steal our intellectual property, and they don't have that type of American ingenuity. And when you look at the American flag, one nation under God, and that is something that they don't have.
Well, you know what I love too? It just looks like a banner of lies. It's a lie. When you see Mao Zedong, he's responsible for the Great Leap Forward, 1958 to 62. What is it? Is it 65 million? Is it 80 million? Nobody knows because they didn't keep records. But he killed his own, starved them out, destroyed them. The stupidity in that man. Not only because he wouldn't brush his teeth. You want to talk about a filthy pig. But with the whole thing with kill the birds. Kill the birds. Don't you know what birds do, you stupid son of a dog? And it was amazing to pretend. I don't know if you hear what's going on in this new wave of morons in America. But did you ever hear of this idiot Hassan Piker who lives with his mother and father, and he's a leading intellectual of the new American Commie Party. Did you hear what he said about Mao Zedong?
I don't recall, but I have seen him going to Beijing and Cuba, of all places. What did he say?
Oh, this is great. Hold on.
I got stopped by a cop who thought I was like making fun of Mao Zedong, which I never would and never will. Mao Zedong is one of the great leaders of this world, okay? A man who changed the entire universe, the entire planet, okay? For real, yes. I mean, there was a lot of excesses, let's be real, but the People's Republic of China would not exist without Mao Zedong.
He's kind of right when it comes to that, but that's the raging intellect on the American Communist Party. Mao Zedong not only was a filthy slob with his own hygiene, responsible for 80 million people, but he had a little bit of a problem. He liked to rape kids, didn't he?
I mean, honestly, that audio that you just played, I thought it was parody or you impersonating him.
No. That's the intellect of the American left, kid, right there.
It's. I mean, I'm speechless, to be honest. It's just unbelievable to think, as you laid out, the Great Leap Forward, the Cultural Revolution, the various campaigns that eventually led to the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre, where thousands of pro-democracy students were, massacred and killed. It's beyond the pale.
You know what the beauty is, Steve? You can always tell when somebody was taught by people who wanted knowledge to be explored by the people they were teaching, and they gave you that thirst for knowledge. When you look at the Chicago school system, the New York school system, the New Jersey, pick one, and you look at the American teacher unions, this is their sin. This is their malpractice. What we're experiencing is not the rise of communism. There is no such thing. What we're experiencing is the malpractice of the American education system, who never taught what Mao Zedong was to this Hassan Piker generation of idiots. I mean, that's all it is. Because if you really knew the history of Havana, Cuba, of the Soviet Union, the collapse of the National Workers' Socialist Party of Germany, and the most prolific mass serial killer murderer in world history, Mao Zedong, you wouldn't even deal with these idiots. So this is really a stain on our education system, isn't it?
It's a great point, and it's really at the root of all of this, in my opinion. When you look at socialism in practice or communism, it has failed everywhere. So the only way that you could continue to perpetuate sort of the idea that it's going to work is by dumbing down the population or not teaching them proper history. And, Marxism, Maoism, Leninism, these are sort of complicated ideologies that, they actually do work. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to trick people into, following along with them. So that's another reason why they don't want to educate the population about these things, because sad to say, these types of ideas, the Marxism, the cultural Marxism, the social, it's been incubating in our universities. And, I have family members, cousins, folks that just came out of college, and, they didn't learn a thing. And they just parrot a lot of the same propaganda that their professors are teaching them. And so the education system, it really needs to be overhauled, and they need to teach the real history of what all these things are, because the slow creep of communism is knocking at our door. Look at the Democratic Socialists of America. It's microwave communism. Don't let the socialist word fool you. If you were to look at what the Democrat Socialists of America are advocating for and the verbiage they use, and you compare that to the so-called Constitution of the USSR, I highly recommend people do that. You'll see very similar words and objectives and flowery language.
Well, I call it the Fourth Reich. I don't let them call themselves. They call themselves whatever they want. And this is the beauty of what your documentary is. Because the entire philosophy is built on a lie, and they must lie to move forward their agenda. And that's what this whole Shen Yun Performing Arts Company is. It's a lie, isn't it?
Well, Shen Yun, the tagline of Shen Yun is China before communism. And Shen Yun is an American-based, a New York-based company with a mission, which is to revive 5,000 years of Chinese culture. And why is that important? To your point, China was the Chinese people over 5,000 years were very in touch with spirituality and the divine. They believed in God, they believed in karmic retribution, to do good things and so on and so forth. And so when the communists took over, the first thing they did was undermine spirituality and religion. They destroyed temples, they mocked, God, and tried to take this out of people's hearts because they wanted to be the supreme being. And ultimately, everything, to your point, that they have built, the CCP is built on lies. And it's a threat to them when they see sort of this global phenomenon, Shen Yun, inspiring not just Chinese people, but, people from all walks of life. They walk out of a performance and they see what China could be like without communism, what it was like and what it could be like. And so the CCP has gone to great lengths to undermine this performance. They submit bomb threats to theaters in Washington and all over the world whenever they perform, and a host of other nefarious activity.
How about when the Chinese were so in bed with the Biden administration, so in bed with the Obama administration, they had secret police departments, Chinese government orchestrated departments to just chase down the Chinese defectors and the Chinese American people and to extort. I mean, is it amazing that this is not a bigger scandal than what it was? Because in order to do that, they had to bribe or have the power of the American operating government to do this, didn't they?
I mean, we just saw last week the President of the United States laying out with great detail, if you go to the White House website and look at the documents, our intel community, people essentially working on behalf of China to stifle information that China was heavily involved in trying to sway the 2020 election. And it dates back even further than that to 2018 and beyond, on a scale that is unparalleled to any type of interference campaign we've ever seen from Russia, China, Iran, or anybody else. This is all about China. And so they are in our election systems, they're in Wall Street, they're in Capitol Hill. It should be a grave concern. And, sometimes in Washington, when people refer to China, you kind of get a glimpse of where people stand by how they refer to China. Are they, we often hear they're a competitor. Okay, so if somebody refers to them as, they're our greatest competitor, you can tell that they might not be too clear. They're actually our greatest adversary. Until we recognize that threat, I don't think we're going to be able to handle it properly.
So the documentary is all over the place, and it's operating right now. I can go home tonight, like I plan to do, smoke a cigar, and watch this documentary. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. You could watch it on your preferred platform, whether it's Amazon, Apple. But for your viewers, if they wanted to watch it for free, you could just go to ntdfilms.com.
ntdfilms.com? Is that what you said? I'm sorry, the phone broke up.
Yes, NTD Films.
Okay, now in your research, I'm going to tell you something, and maybe it's in there, and maybe it isn't. I'm going to know by tomorrow morning. But in your research, I was at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in the late 1980s. The relationship between the Chinese Communist Party, and back then there's a moron son of a previous mayor. His name's Richard J. Daley. If he can read, I'll buy you steak dinner every time I see you, because I don't think he can read. Took him 4 times to pass the bar. And all the Chinese so-called businessmen would come downtown to Chicago, and they started to invest, so they say, in buildings, in businesses. They were neck deep in bed with the short and the pants mafia. In your research, did it lead you back to the nucleus, the capital, American capital of communism and mafia control, Chicago? Or did you skip that?
It didn't take us there, but you know where it did take us? It took us to the New York Times. The so-called paper of record. So basically in the film, we have 2 tracks. One human interest track, which tracks these dancers and sort of their process, Olympic caliber athletes and artists. And the other is an investigative track that looks into the New York Times, who has written 12 adverse articles on the Shen Yun performing arts. And that's how the whole documentary sort of got started. We started 1, 2, 3, then around 4th or 5th article, hit piece by the New York Times on this group. We started to say, this is a little bit strange. And so that led us on to an investigative track that uncovered a lot of interesting parallels to the New York Times and Beijing.
Yeah. They've been communists since wasn't it them or New York something employed Karl Marx, the untalented bastard who let all of his kids starve to death and his wife. Steve Lance, it's been a pleasure. I hope I get to meet you in person, but one thing's for certain. I'm definitely going to be watching Unbroken, the untold story of Shen Yun tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer.
Your home or business has storm damage and you have an insurance claim.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters. Today, insurance companies are notorious for offering way too little money to repair damage to your home or commercial building due to wind, hail, tornado, floods, or fire. Crosscom works for you, not the insurance company. As licensed adjusters, Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. After they get you the fair insurance company result, Crosscom can start doing your repairs. Crosscom is a full construction and restoration company that will get your property back to its pre-loss condition, getting your life back to normal. Roof, siding, windows, doors, fire restoration, Crosscom does it all.
Call Crosscom.
Licensed in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin.
This is Dan Leitz with Crosscom. We share your conservative and Christian values. Let us handle everything. It all starts with a call.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Hey Chicagoland, Jeff from Jeff Buys Your House. If you're helping a parent or loved one move into senior living, you're dealing with a lot right now. Finding the right location, coordinating the move, managing their care, and then there's the house, often filled with decades of belongings and memories. The last thing you need is months of repairs, showings, and uncertainty about when it will actually sell. Here's how our veteran-led team helps. We listen to your needs first. Flexible closing date? We can do that. Extra time to sort through everything at your own pace? That works too. You keep what matters, family photos, heirlooms, whatever has meaning, and we handle the rest. For nearly 20 years, we've earned hundreds of 5-star reviews by treating families with patience and respect during life's transitions. If you're ready for a no-obligation conversation, call us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com. That's jeffbuysyourhouse.com.
Hey, sorry to hear your mom passed away.
Thanks.
A lot of work to do settling her assets?
Actually, she prepared a living trust. Makes this process simple.
Yeah, I set up a will for my kids. Should make it easy.
Well, unless your assets are small, your kids will have to go to court to settle your will.
So, where do I get a living trust?
Nauman and Associates. They prepare wills and trusts for a flat fee. No surprises.
Nauman and Associates in Elk Grove Village?
That's right. NALawGroup.com. Call 847-593-8777.
Rashaw talks about building income in retirement.
You know, you can actually structure it in a way to have that $4,000 a month coming in the door every single month. So you don't have to look at the stock ticker and say, oh, the stock market's up today, stock market's down. You still got that $4,000 a month, and having that opportunity to take the vacations and do all the fun things in retirement that you always dream to do.
Unleash your wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
So before Jimmy Carter and the moron policies that the Democrats of the 70s would create, squirrel gas was 39 cents. 39 cents a gallon. And the scandal was that moron peanut farmer. He gets elected, the policies, Iran, even before Iran, early 70s, mid-70s. Gas shoots to 59 and the world goes crazy. Randy Donnelly starts Donnelly Auctions 50 years ago. He knew that he could help people afford the massive cost of moron policies, whether it's Jimmy Carter, Barack Obama, or you are going to have to take advantage of items you have lying around that you don't know the value of. It could be in a business you're forced to close because of moron Democrat policies. from the 70s to J.B. Pritzker, that butter-handed pansy, as he is increased, $800 billion in tax increases. Since he's been governor, $800 billion new taxes you've paid, Illinoisans have paid, in a variety of 57, 77 new taxes, taxes on taxes. You might have an item in your basement, in your garage, in your attic. You have no idea the value of. Randy Donnelly does. For 5 decades, he's been exposing items to the world, getting you the highest price for it. It's never been easier. Every month, themed auctions. Every month, different specialties. However, he doesn't care what it is. A bicycle, a car, a motorcycle, a tchotchke from your Auntie Bing. It doesn't matter. He can sell it. Closing a business, a fixture that you may want to take out of the wall and sell it at Randy Donnelly. Just give him a call, 815-923-7000. Take advantage of 5 decades of experience of selling items for the highest price, like a license plate for $30,000. 815-923-7000 or online at DonnellyAuctions.com or at ShaunFest. He'll be there on the 28th of August. See you there. Randy will be there. Ask him any question. The knowledge is unbelievable. He's like a walking Google. When we get back, 312-642-5600. I'll take your calls and comments after Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, we see partly cloudy conditions overnight with a low of 60. 2 independent candidates vying for Representative Chuy Garcia's congressional seat will not appear on the November ballot. The Illinois State Board of Elections ruled Tuesday both Mayra Macias and Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez did not submit the minimum number of valid petition signatures. President Trump hosting the president of Lebanon for bilateral meetings at the White House. President Trump hosting the president of Lebanon for bilateral meetings at the White House, and he was asked if he had any concerns about a potential blockade of ship traffic in the Red Sea by Houthi rebels.
We've had no problem with the Houthis. They've had no problem with us for a long period of time, including during this conflict. I think that if there is something like that, we'll just have to take care of business.
The Iran-backed Houthis announced they would be enforcing a blockade against Saudi Arabia. Cubs and Tigers at Wrigley. First-place White Sox in Texas. The news, a service of the AM 560 Advantage. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. Next news at 6. Continuous news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. And up next, a check of the evening commute in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jill Urchek.
The outbound Edens at Dempster has an accident off to the right shoulder. 40 minutes going in on the Kennedy out 35 downtown to the airport. Outbound Eisenhower at First Avenue, accident in the left lane, hour and 10 out to 390. Stevenson 50 DuSable Lakeshore Drive out to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. 22 minutes outbound Dan Ryan, stop and go in the Express, 43rd to Marquette. On DuSable Lakeshore Drive, you'll be tied up there, unfortunately. Either way, Tri-State also busy either direction. Northbound side, a stall in the right lane at the Eisenhower and a stall at North Avenue, also in the right lane. Reagan, Jane Addams, 355, though not bad. Westbound 80, overturned vehicle at LaGrange. This report is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcast at 560theanswer.com/podcast. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with cooler temperatures reaching a low of 60. On Wednesday, anticipate hazy sunshine and lower humidity levels with a high of 74. Wednesday night will bring a crystal clear sky and a low of 60. Thursday is set to be mostly sunny and delightful with a high of 79. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Time now for a check of the lowest gas prices in Chicagoland.
In Cook County, regular no lead is $3.59 a gallon at the BP on Cicero Avenue in Crestwood, $3.79 a gallon at the Mobil on Harlem Avenue in Worth, and $3.83 a gallon at the Citgo on Archer Avenue in Willow Springs.
If you see a low gas price, text the word gas to 312-642-5600, followed by the price and location. And listen each weekday afternoon at 12:30 and 5:30 to hear the lowest gas prices in Chicagoland.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, it's Shaun Thompson. You know, one day it's market volatility. The next day it's conflict overseas. Price jumps, confidence drops, and suddenly retirement feels less certain. When the latest headline pushes costs higher and stokes inflation fears, it can have a ripple effect on your investments and your budget. But here's the thing. Retirement shouldn't depend on perfect timing or on the latest geopolitical noise. Tom Fortino and the Alpha Wealth Group help families right here in the Chicago area build a plan to create income you can't outlive, control taxes, minimize risk, protect your assets, and prepare an estate and legacy plan. It's their 5-pillar retirement planning. Ready to learn more? To get your complimentary retirement roadmap and a retirement analysis today, schedule a meeting with Tom Fortino and the people of Alpha Wealth Group by calling 630-864-6711. That number again, 630-864-6711, or online at alphawealthgroup.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Have military collectibles? Turn that history into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
And they're broke. The Chinese communists are frickin' broke. Like Chirac, like New York, New Jersey, all running a financial scheme and crime. And it all starts from this idea that they're good at something. What exactly are you, moron? You know what you're good at? You're good at killing people. Democrats, Marxists, socialists. That's your real common denominator. Death, mayhem, feudalism.
I got stopped by a cop who thought I was like making fun of Mao Zedong, which I never would and never will. Mao Zedong is a one of the great leaders of this world, okay?
Are you listening to this fracking simpleton who lives with his mother and father? Another moron, commie, Marxist, whatever you want to call this imbecile, living with his mother and father. Does he not know? Is he one of the only people that do not know the real history and legacy of that dirty tooth pig? You know, his teeth were green, Squirrel. Here's how sick and twisted, aside from a child rapist, another child rapist deity of the left. He never brushed his teeth. He would swirl around the tea, Chinese tea. Would swirl around the tea, and he thought it made him healthy. His teeth were green. Michelle Obama's underwear drawer.
Which dictator killed the most people in the 20th century? From Kim Il-sung's body count of 1.6 million to Pol Pot's Cambodian genocide of 1.7 million, there was no shortage of mass murderers in the...
These are the utopian socialists and communists and Marxists. This is how it turns out for you morons.
The 20th century. However, 4 leaders stand above the rest. Taking 4th place was Belgium's Leopold II. During his horrific colonial rule of the Congo, he is estimated to have killed 2 to 10 million. Hitler, responsible for the mass execution of the Jews and so-called undesirables, comes in at 3rd place. The Fuhrer is condemned to directly killing 17 million, excluding war-related deaths. Not to be outdone, the Soviet Union's leader, Joseph Stalin, would take 2nd place. A paranoid tyrant, he is estimated to have a kill count of 23 million.
That's way low. And you know the funny thing about Stalin? He was a defect. His little left arm was about 4 inches shorter than the right arm. Did you know that? That's why when all the pictures, when he was here, and it was FDR, call him Uncle Joe, that moron, FDR. And he would stand there in the photograph. His hand was always tucked in a pocket. And FDR was always positioned sitting with his legs crossed that he hadn't felt since he was 16.
In spite of these horrific tallies, only one leader takes the crown for mass murderer of the 20th century, Chairman Mao Zedong. The communist revolutionary would be responsible for killing 50 to 80 million people.
Do you know why they don't know? 50 to 80 million, Squirrel? Because they didn't keep any records. Boy, oh boy. Seems to be a lot. Stop counting. Dig a hole. Kind of what they told Hitler and the National Socialist Worker Party of Germany. And you want to call it what? The Democrat Socialist of America? They are the Fourth Reich. And they wallow in thievery, feudalism, and fraud, even when they still pretend to be Democrats.
And referring to the council's rejection of his proposed corporate head tax, which the Budget Accountability Coalition replaced with other revenue
Brandon,
ideas. Johnson's
right here
budget team
with
saying
your head
those
tax,
ideas
you
have not
frickin'
generated
moron,
any income, causing the shortfall. Finance Committee Chairwoman Pat Dowell pushing back.
We've come up with solutions, and they're baked into the budget.
Baked into the
budget.
We
need the administration.
Hey, and this is the voice of reason. This simpleton, moron, fraud is the smart one.
To implement the budget. As you heard yesterday, a lot of the things that we wanted to pursue, they've taken their sweet time to do that.
If layoffs become a reality, Johnson's team suggested it would have to include police in order to achieve significant savings.
We're in the middle of the most violent part of the year.
Oh, come on, John. Come on, John. How many times you tell the guys, just vote for this Democrat? They're not so bad. Another knucklehead, bearing a striking resemblance to Curly Howard. How many times you vote for Democrat and tell everybody vote for Democrat? This is what it looks like. And what do you mean the most violent time of the year? What do you have, 233 dead, 235 dead, 1,000 shot? You guys those are good numbers for you. You're used to it. It's a ghetto. And what are you going to do? You're going to fire teachers? Teachers, like these communist whores who can't read or write or speak.
Live out of Chicago, he's got the exclusive for us. Mike.
And Sandra, Immigration and Customs Enforcement now has in custody this former Illinois high school teacher who they say assisted a Tren de Aragua mass shooting, and it gets more complicated from there. Giovanna Mercedes Moreno Ochapinte, 32 years.
Four namer, Squirrel. I'll tell you what, you want to fire people in Chicago? Everybody who's got four names, you're fired. Let's start there. I'll do it. You want me to do it?
Historically speaking, there's a lot of unknowns within the police department in this city at the moment, and taking sworn police officers off the street couldn't be a dumber idea for anybody to even utter those words out loud.
Alderwoman Dowell says there are alternatives to laying off city workers, including finding more efficiencies.
I threw out an idea yesterday about...
You guys just coming up with ideas now? What do you guys do? What do you got, the 50 thieves there? What do? You sit around? I got an idea, like the city just incorporated last month. I got an idea. Let's do this. Here's what you do, stupid. Don't spend more than you have. Stupid. Don't expand government as the population shrinks, and pretend that when you pay somebody and they pay taxes, it's your revenue. Stupid.
Old first entered the U.S. in October of 2021 with the visa waiver program, but she was supposed to leave January 2nd, 2022, and she overstayed her visa.
How'd she become a Chicago teacher? She's an illegal alien. Oh, that's another thing. Don't hire illegal aliens or bill society to pretend they're being educated when you can only teach 18 out of 100 kids how to read. Frickin' more. I'll tell you what, here's what we do. If you've ever voted Democrat, you're fired. 312-642-5600.
Call Shaun now.
1-800 right here.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
You know that feeling when you call your insurance company and you know that you're getting put into queue? Nobody wants to go through that. Specifically, Tommy and TJ Iaquinta with Class A Insurance. They're a father and son team built right here in Chicago's southwest suburbs on one idea: treat people like family. See, because they're independent, they're not stuck in pushing one company policy on you, one company rates on you. They shop the best carriers in the country, names you'd recognize, and find coverage that actually fits your life, your home, your car, even your boat and motorcycle. That's why they've been named one of the top 25 home insurance agencies in Chicago. 2 generations, 1 agency, and clients that stick with them for years. When something happens and claims happen, Tommy or TJ is the one who picks up the phone and walks you through the process themselves. If you're paying for a policy you don't understand from a company you never talked to, it's simple. Head to 560insurance.com. That's 560insurance.com. Get a free quote in minutes at 560insurance.com.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, we'll show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
AM 560, The Answer.
Everybody who's ever worked for me, Squirrel, those are the questions. Everybody. I don't care if you're a landscaper, a lawyer, a doctor. If I have to interact with you, there are 2 questions and 2 questions only. Are you legally here? A, have you ever voted Democrat? If the answer is right to both, you're hired. You don't have to tell me what you charge. Nothing. You're hired. But if, in fact, you have been corrupt enough or dumb enough to vote for these Democrats, then you get what you deserve. And you don't ever work for me, touch me, contracted by me, nothing. I would rather, Squirrel, be hot if the AC guy's a Democrat. I'd rather grunt it out in a parking lot of a hospital than allow a thieving rat from Ghetto Loretto, Democrat, to ever touch me.
So during this time when you were living in Chambers Road and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the
Penn Biden Center. He was a professor, right? Here he is, Professor Joseph Robinette, dumbest middle name in America, Biden.
You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I mean, you seem no, it works. Or or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're. No, I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon or whatever, something, or whether those aliens are.
That's another thing. Do not ever let a Democrat teacher near your kid. Odds are they're a gangbanger.
Skip forward to December 2nd, 2024, when the Department of Homeland Security says she drove 2 gunmen affiliated with a Venezuelan gang trying to arrive to a house party in the Gage Park area of Chicago, where they allegedly opened fire. 3 people were killed, several others injured. Federal authorities say Moreno Ochapinto also helped the gunmen flee the scene. Ochapinte, I should say. The 2 men she allegedly drove to the scene and helped escape, Ricardo Grandillo Padilla and Edward Martinez Sermeno, have both been arrested.
Okay, this is a reporter. You hear him? You hear how diligent he is in these names that are making my mouth water?
Arrested and deported. Chicago police arrested this former teacher December 5th, 2025. Federal authorities say she had weapons in her car at the time of the arrest. And however, Chicago is a sanctuary city in a sanctuary state.
Were they next to the curriculum? Were you a history teacher? English? Perhaps Inglese? Did you have the curriculum right next to the gangbanger Trans de Agua weapons? You filthy animal. Teacher! Shh! Don't fire the teachers. Fire them all. You got 4 names? You're out of work. And when it comes to enforcing law, it's interesting. You have Chicago. You have Democrat-run areas that are constantly letting out the repeat offenders, over and over and over.
Be part of me for the rest of my life. The day that I die, I will have this scar on my neck.
Jenna Salem lives with a daily reminder on her neck of a home invasion she survived in late January. DeKalb County police say it happened along Atherton
Circle. He was arrested
Circle.
30 times. He gets out. He cuts her neck. Somehow she's alive. In Florida, you know what we do, Squirrel? We kill him.
Florida prosecutors are seeking the death penalty against a Filipino nurse accused of child sexual abuse. The case comes after a months-long investigation with damning evidence, including a video recorded by one of the victims. The details in this report by our U.S. correspondent, Paul Garilao.
Prosecutors in Florida's 5th Judicial Circuit are seeking the death penalty against Filipino nurse Schubert Navarroza Macarat, following a grand jury indictment charging him with 47 felony counts. The charges include multiple counts of sexual battery involving a child under the age of 12, as well as counts related to the possession of child sexual abuse material.
Kill that son of a pig before Thanksgiving. Now in Michigana, in the Democrat-run Michigana, you can't even get them to admit there's going to be a trial. In fact, they've had a kidnapper of children, a pedophile, sexual deviant pig, based in a Democrat party, arrested after he's been on video trying to take not one, but 2 underage kids. And they can't get him to plead yet. 2 years!
This is a 23-year-old man you're going to see on your screen. He's from Shelby Township. More about him in a moment, but keep your eye on him. He's in that light-colored shirt. This is the Clinton River Park North entrance. There is a 7-year-old girl on her bike. He snatches her off the bike. He's running with her, putting her in his car. He's trying to leave with that 7-year-old. Her aunt goes after him and goes after that little girl, slows him down, fights him off, saving her niece. More on that in a moment. Let me take you inside court here. Andy Bala, 23 years old from Shelby Township, hit today with multiple felonies here and hit with multiple felonies from an attempted abduction of a teen 1 hour before the video you just saw.
2 kids, 1 day, 2 years ago. Fast forward.
The victims' families came to Macomb County Circuit Court Monday afternoon expecting closure as the prosecutor arraigned the suspect, Andy Bala, on 5 new felony charges, informing the judge, Matthew Saba, that a plea deal was ready. But when the judge asked Bala if he was ready to move forward, Bala's one-word answer left the family members devastated.
You don't want to enter a plea today? No.
Along with the original kidnapping and assault allegations,
2 years. He don't want to enter a plea. 2 years from now, when I'm in Florida smoking a cigar after one of the beach walk squirrels, I'll go to whatever ditch they buried that child molester in, and I'll relieve myself 2 years after we got him. That's the difference. You live among thieves, the governments protect them. We'll be back.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait. People wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You've got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right, doing it right since 1959.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson, and last year I hired Level 10 Coatings to give my garage floor a total makeover, and I am loving it. It still looks great, shiny, and clean. Level 10 Coatings. Now, you've got to call these guys if your garage floor is cracked, stained, still covered in salt. Don't live like that. Get it done now so you can enjoy it this summer. Level 10 Coatings. They're fast, reliable, and highly professional. Guess what? I went to work. When I came home, it was done. A shiny, new, gleaming garage floor. A quick, easy fix. And it's guaranteed never to chip or peel. Why? It's not an epoxy job. It's better. Level 10 uses polyurea, which is much better than epoxy. So schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, to receive $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com, or call 855-510-2628. Staff are local and ready to answer questions. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
Fight or flight? In Illinois, you've got both options. You can stay and fight, engage in local races, work to change things. Or you can vote with your feet. At leavingil.com, we help you build a smart exit plan so you know where to go, when to go, and how to do it right. Take our quick exit readiness assessment. Go to leavingil.com. That's leavingil.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the Made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
On the biggest hit list of golden goose of scams, I don't know if it's going to be healthcare and Medicaid, but it might be this other nonsense that never existed. Global warming. Didn't Al Gore give us 12 years, about 30 years ago? And then AOC just gave us 12 more years. We're going to discuss that and so much more. What the hell are you Canadians doing? What are you doing up there? We'll discuss that with Gregory Wrightstone. You know Gregory Wright. Stop saying Jumanji. That's after Foxweiser.
An investment in our defense. I'm Lee Silicera, Fox News. War Secretary Pete Hegseth before a Senate panel as President Trump's request $1.5 trillion to fund the military. Hegseth says the U.S. needs to compete not just on the ground, but using technology to battle rivals.
We need to be able to do it at speed, at scale, with autonomy, with AI, with exquisite high cost and low cost to be ahead and stay ahead so that you're not just able to do what we need to do in the Strait of Hormuz, but deter adversaries like Russia and China.
Democratic Senator Patty Murray of Washington questioned why the Pentagon needs more money for the war in Iran.
This administration has tried to sell this as an emergency request, but it may be better understood as an attempt to skirt the normal appropriations process.
Senator Murray said the administration is getting the U.S. involved in another forever war, saying it's spiraling out of control. The man who the FBI says attacked a federal building in Manhattan yesterday, now charged with arson. Authorities say Andrew Arabanca went to 26 Federal Plaza, igniting a large firework in front of an employee entrance, then fired several airsoft rifle pellets at the building and ignited gasoline he'd spread on the sidewalk before he was tackled by a security guard. A federal appeals court upholds the convictions of a Trump administration advisor.
A unanimous ruling from a 3-judge panel of the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals rejected White House advisor Peter Navarro's bid to have his convictions overturned. Navarro has already served a 4-month prison sentence for contempt of Congress for defying a subpoena from the House committee that investigated the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Navarro has argued executive privilege shielded him from complying with the congressional subpoena. Hours after his release from prison in 2024, Navarro spoke on stage at the Republican National Convention.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. America is listening to Fox News.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the Kennedy downtown out to O'Hare, 35 minutes is the time, while the outbound Edens is still in great shape. Eisenhower 45, Post Office to 390. Stevenson 35 minutes to Saba Lakeshore Drive out to 355. And the outbound Dan Ryan an 18-minute trip at Titan Express 51st to Marquette. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, that remains heavy either way. So does the Tri-State, but the Jane Addams is okay. The Reagan is fine. It is tight. Southbound 355 northbound trip, not bad. westbound 80 after Briggs, a crash on the shoulder. The Skyway looks good either way, and no troubles on 57 or the Bishop Ford. This report is a service of Fox Valley Coins. Currently buying all gold and silver bars and coins, silver dollars, rare date proof and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with cooler temperatures, reaching a low of 60. On Wednesday, anticipate hazy sunshine and lower humidity levels with a high of 74. Wednesday night will bring a crystal clear sky with temperatures dropping back down to 60. Thursday is set to be mostly sunny and delightful with a high of 79. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Life moves fast, and it's easy to feel spiritually drained. That's why InTouch.org is here to help you stay grounded in God's Word every day. At InTouch.org, you'll find biblical teaching from Dr. Charles Stanley, daily devotionals, free resources, and messages that speak directly to what you're facing. Whether you need encouragement, clarity, or a moment to reconnect with God, it's all right at your fingertips. Discover a place to grow your faith and find real hope at InTouch.org.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Progressive knows that boat days can come with unexpected problems.
It's been a tough Saturday on the lake. I ordered swim trunks in this orange cream color, but it's actually more orange auburn. Oh, and it's swimwear. I probably can't even return these.
If a real problem comes along, your boat's protected 24/7 with Progressive, so you can keep worrying about boater problems. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in D.C.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where 24-pack Crayola crayons are just 50 cents?
Staples has folders, notebooks, and pens at great prices.
I'm smiling from ear to ear.
It's the most wonderful time.
Mom, I missed the bus of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples, where school supplies start at just 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit your local Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
Millennials and people, and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it?
That's why my neighborhood, you never ask a moron, what do you think? Right there. You know who you go to? You go to an actual expert. Somebody who got us through American dark ages, known as the Biden years. You remember how many times we would have our next guest on to combat not just the lies that are perpetrated in the name of eco-Nazism, but the trillions of dollars wasted. He's been there the whole time pushing back against it. Author of A Very Convenient Warming, How Modest Warming and More CO2 Are Benefiting Humanity, us. Executive Director of the CO2 Coalition, and the best name in all of science, Gregory Wrightstone. How are you?
Good. I got to correct you, Shaun. I think it's pronounced moron, isn't it? I'm not sure.
Well, you must be from the South Side. In my neighborhood, it's just moron or dimwit,
okay.
Or dimwit, or please put your clothes back on. I'm starting to pay attention to you. These are the things that you have to keep in mind. And, when you look at the trillions of dollars, Gregory, I mean, it's mind-boggling that they've been able to sell it. It's mind-boggling that we've just sat there and have gone, okay. And then, all I was thinking about, Gregory, is the fires in Canada. Do you remember all those years you would come on and we would talk about the fires in California? And by the end of almost the interview, it would be another arson attempt by another professor, another arson attempt by another disgruntled communist. When this happened in Canada, that's what I thought. Is it, in fact, another arsonist, or is it somebody that was waiting to get their turn in one of those death capsules now that Canada has assisted suicide, and they were smoking their last marble and threw it in the forest? What do you think happened?
Well, we don't know about this year yet, but we know from past years that about 50% of the fires in Canada they're created by lightning strikes, dry lightning, and that says the other half are human source, the human ignition sources, and a small percentage of those are arson. And what's interesting, particularly in Manitoba, what they have is a rule there that Native Americans need to be hired first ahead of non-Native Americans for firefighting duties, and it pays really well. And so, if you're an Ojibwe in Manitoba, you got a few opportunities to maybe work for a month and a half fighting fires and get paid well. And so they found that I believe it was 2003. I believe they arrested 12 or 15 of the Native Americans that had set the fires. They wanted to work, and that's one way to go about it.
You got yourself a business plan. And by the way, I didn't know what I said. What'd you call me? What's an Ojibwe?
It's a Native American. I believe that's the tribe that's up there. But again, it's an opportunity for them to get a nice paycheck.
If only the Comanches knew the scams were going on, they wouldn't have killed so many of their own. They might have become firemen in Canada. It's amazing how we let this go. It's just preposterous, isn't it?
It is. But this thing, the Canadian fires have been going on for many thousands of years. I'm looking right now in front of me on my computer screen. I'm looking at an article from May of 1912 from the New York Times, front page article detailing, because at that point they were going through a really bad, they call it the dark days, and they listed 58 dates with really, really bad smoke conditions. And of course they weren't driving SUVs or coal-fired power plants. It was all naturally driven. And the worst of according to this article, the worst ever recorded was in July 7th of 1780. Again, hundreds of years before we were pretty much CO2 at all in the atmosphere. And the worst, it was called the Black Day. It wasn't a dark day; it was a black day. And the cities on the East Coast, Boston, New York City, at midday on July 7th, 1780, they were. It was like midnight. And so this has been going on for some time, and it has nothing to do with climate change.
Well, how rare is it to have data from 1780? That in itself is rare, because the bulk of the data that's been used against the humanity is all collected from, 1880? That's when the data started to be really collected, right? I mean, how much data do we have prior to that?
Well, they have no data per se about this, but we do have historical and anecdotal accounts of what happened on those dates. If it's midnight and there's no sun, it's black as midnight at noon, you got a problem. It's bad. And we have a whole series of these. They call them, they're referred to as dark days. And the other thing that we need to look at here, Donald Trump was threatening Canada to impose more tariffs. You need to control your fires and do better forest management. I'm sorry, Donald. You better do your own work here at home first, because you can do something. You and Doug Burgum at Interior can do something to better our forest management, and they've been aggressive about that. Right now we have a lot of fires raging in Washington State and Oregon, and that the Prime Minister yesterday of Canada complained. He says, Donald Trump, you better be quiet. Your smoke is coming into Canada now, causing us problems. Why don't you go mind your own business and take care of your own forest before you lecture us on ours? And he had a point about it.
Yeah. Well, you know what this is about, though? I mean, I do a lot of research economically. It's fascinating, Gregory. You would be in awe of how bankrupt, what a real economic problem they have in Canada. It's record number of individual Canadians that have filed for bankruptcy, far more than 2008. But when you look at the actual government and what it's done as far as money, they levied a big issue where we had an agreement about a bridge. I don't know if you heard about it, with tolls. Did you hear McCarthy? This was McCarthy before Donald Trump. This is, Donald Trump is that New Yorker where he speaks in half sentences and he gives a lot of innuendo and no backstory. The backstory is we've got a big problem with Canada since this Carney actually won. And he turns out, in my opinion, to be somebody who was he held the only person to have a job in the Central Bank of Canada and England. And he's got a lot of scandal in his past, specifically with your arena and the true totalitarianism of their green energy movement in Canada and all the money that's gone. Well, right now there's a problem. They agreed to do something with America on a bridge. Here, I'll let him say it.
What we have with the agreement with the U.S. Is as follows. And let me start with what it isn't. It's not splitting the tolls of the bridge. It is an agreement for 15 years to split net revenues. Splitting of tolls, any sharing of the toll revenue won't happen until all of the debt is repaid. We will split net revenues over the course of the first 15 years. And those net revenues are after operational costs. So it's manning the toll booths, it's maintenance, it's snow removal, a series of other operational costs. And
the other problem is so many of our illegals are now under the pressure of the Trump administration, and they're fleeing to Canada, where all you have to do is cross the border, and it's money for nothing and chicks for free, like that fantastic song from the 80s we used to dance to. So this is an interesting argument that's going on. It's far bigger than the Canadian wildfires, but I'm more interested in it's a shocking reality, the difference in the way in which these wildfires are handled. Lightning strikes in Florida, lightning strikes in Tennessee, lightning strikes in California or Canada. It seems to be a lot worse where the eco-Nazis are, for my opinion. What do you think?
Well, yeah, and it has gotten worse. It all goes back to the 1980s, early 80s Clinton administration. Remember the spotted owl that, they did away with logging on national forests, which was a huge mistake. And so our entire forest management system changed at that point. Before we did logging, we did controlled burns, or some people call them prescribed burns. But these are burns that they do to get rid of some of the undergrowth during non-dangerous times. You're more easily able to control the fires that you set. And they've done away with that. And now without the logging in the Northwest, Oregon, Washington, Northern California, these are the national forests too, where they did the private industries that are well managed, like Weyerhaeuser and the others. They don't have a problem with wildfires because they manage their forest well. That's their business. That's their livelihood. That's how they feed their children, is by having well-managed forests that don't go up in flames every 10 years. And so what they did was get away from this, and when they stopped logging, they used to be able to, when the fire began, they could take their heavy equipment, which is what you really need in a lot of cases. They could use the logging roads. Well, those logging roads now have grown up. They're impassable. You got 40-year-old trees in the middle of the logging roads. The only way to get in to fight the fires is to airdrop the smoke jumpers, which is very difficult, and you can't bring much equipment other than an axe and a chainsaw, if that. And so this is all human-induced, Democrat administration-induced, and even Gavin Newsom in California admits that's the case, that the fires in California are being exacerbated by bad forest management. And if you look where the big intense forest fires are, it's on national forest properties, not the private industry, not privately controlled properties. There was a guy in the big bad California fires, was 2 years ago, and he had a pretty decently sized property right in the path of the fire. He had gone out and absolutely clear cut all the grasses, all the undergrowth for a large distance around his home, and his was the only home left standing. Nonetheless, they fined him $20,000 because he wasn't allowed to do that. Well, I'm sorry. That was a pretty good decision, and that's a $20,000 fine worth paying because he has his house and all the neighbors' homes went up in flames. And that's how you fight these fires. You get rid of the undergrowth. You get rid of it's really the grasses, a lot of these fires. The one in California 2 years ago, that was a grass fire for the most part. It came sweeping down out of the Sierras from the high desert areas. And in these Santa Ana or Diablo winds that just come racing at 80, 90, and sometimes more miles per hour, that just fuels that. And the fuel is the dead, dry grass that, that's the spark of that. And in the Indians, the Native Americans across North America, Canada, United States, they also intentionally set fires because it helped with the grasses. They would set them in the fall. That way the spring grass growth was encouraged and the buffalo would be attracted to that area. And so this has been going on for some time.
You know what is fascinating is when you talked about government-controlled land. One of the greatest abuses that I think is so underreported is what the Biden administration had done to America and American land. You know, my whole argument has always been, if you look at how much of America is actually developed, it's less than 6%. But when you look at the fact that the Biden administration appropriated somehow under government seizure and never to be tapped for any resources or have any kind of development in land and water, 674 million acres of U.S. land and water were seized. That's what I call it, my word, seized, by the American president to never be touched with any way of American or human being interaction or development. But that also means what you're talking about. That means that all these forests, it's 44 million acres of actual American land. The rest is in waterways around it and through it. We can't touch it. So we can't do it. In other words, the government, the American government, have designated this forever to be a hazard for fires and the lack of progress and ingenuity that we, the human beings of America, come up with. It's a staggering reality of how fascistic the American government is permitted to be, even at its own demise. These 44 million acres, for all we know, could be a powder keg of chaos, right?
Absolutely. There are two large national monuments that Biden, I believe it was Bears Ears. There's another one I did. The name eludes me, but Trump's rolling it back. He says no. It was an unauthorized land grab, like you just talked about. But even so, Shaun, if we just get back here one moment to the Canadian fires.
Yes.
I'm looking at a chart right in front of me from the Canadian Fire Service, Canadian National Fire Database, and it shows that the number of fires in Canada has been declining. You heard me right. And the area burned, while it varies greatly from year to year, there's no trend either increasing or decreasing of the acres burned. And so the claims of climate change exacerbating the number of fires and the size of fires, it's just false. And these fires in Canada, a lot of this is determined by precipitation and when they get the precipitation. Because if we have a lot of precipitation in the early spring, vegetation and grasses, they can explode. And then if it gets really dry June, July, and August, which is the peak fire season, you've got all that excess vegetation just waiting for a spark or a Native American. And so,
or a Native American looking for a job and a pension. Yes, I like it. It's so comical. It really is. And this is what I love about right now, because you and I went through it when the totalitarians, when the fascists were seizing land, when people pretended Joe Biden was capable of tying his fracking shoes, let alone running the government. And we made it through the end. And listen, there are always going to be problems in bureaucracies, but I do love the fact that at least now it's ended from a government fascistic point of view, and it's being rolled back. It might not be to everybody's liking, but what the Trump administration has done in the way in what you and I used to talk about, I'm very happy with it. I mean, it can always be better, but he has done a tremendous amount to at least let us pause for a minute and say, Gregory Wrightstone and the people at the CO2 Coalition have exposed that what you're afraid of, not only shouldn't you be afraid of, it's better for us, it's good for us, and here's the real data. At least now you can get this out.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why my latest book, the title it tells the story. The title is A Very Convenient Warming, How Modest Warming and More CO2 are Benefiting Humanity. And we see it, Shaun, by almost every metric we look at. Earth's ecosystems are thriving and prospering, and humanity is benefiting from modest warming and more CO2. It's one of my favorite, as you know, we've talked many times, and one of my favorite subjects is the close correlation between climate history and humanity and the human condition. All the other previous warming periods that were warmer than today, the Minoan, the Roman, the medieval warm periods, warmer than today, great empires arose, civilizations thrived, food was bountiful. And again, I've used this on you before, but if you were Emperor Shaun in one of those warm periods, you could feed your subjects, and everybody loved Emperor Shaun.
Yes.
But if you were Emperor Shaun when it started getting cold, look out, buddy. They're going to be coming after you with the pitchforks because the crops failed, famine set in, pestilence, and mass depopulation, and you wouldn't be Emperor Shaun for very long.
No. And if you look, too, at some of the old arguments that you and I faced and combated to a certain extent, but you look at how they've dropped off. Whatever happened to the problem with the rainforests? Whatever happened to the problem with the thickness of the ice, the amount of green in the world? I mean, they have been proven wrong on every bullet point that they started a fever or attempted to start a fever where people would lose their mind and all sense of reason. I cannot think back 20, 30 years ago to when Al Gore was hugging Tipper Gore, who I think could have kicked his ass in any tavern. However, back when they were making out on stage and all the nonsense of 12 years and 6 years and seas rising, have they ever gotten one bullet point right that they used to extort and create an entire industry of financial fraud?
Well, I can't point to one, and I'll tell you what it is. It's rather humorous. One of these claims is that climate change and CO2 increases are going to accelerate poison ivy. And you know what? They're right. It will. Because increasing CO2 and warming temperatures, it's an equal opportunity plant food. And so, yeah, maybe there might be a little bit more poison ivy, but there's going to be a lot more of everything else. And so that's just one example. One of the other things that I always point to, that when people hear this, they go, well, why aren't they telling us that? You talked about rising sea levels. And one of the most at-risk islands, according to the United Nations, are the Maldives in the Indian Ocean. And they're supposed to be underwater by 2050. And this great picture of the Maldives prime minister standing hip deep in the ocean with his hands out looking for climate reparations. All right, 18,000 years ago, the Maldives were also just above sea level. And in the last 18,000 years, sea level has risen 400 feet. Why are those islands not under 400 feet of water, you might ask me? Good question. It's a geologic process known as accretion. And these islands grow along with rising sea levels. It's the sands are composed of the busted up corals, and it's washed up on the islands and then distributed across the islands with winds and critters that move it around. And so it's crazy. So what they're telling you is by 2050, the Maldives will be underwater. The last 400 feet of sea level rise didn't put them under, but the next 3 inches will. And that's what it's going to be by 2050.
You know what you're making me want to do? Let's buy all of it. I'll buy all the coast. How much do they want for it? It's going to be underwater anyway. What do you want for it? Let's cut that deal. Let's do it. We'll shut the show down right now.
Yeah, you're too late. Because there are 14 resort complexes. You and I and a lot of other people, 14 resort complexes being constructed in 4 airports. And the multinational insurance companies have no problem insuring them because they know it's BS. They know that those resorts and hotels are not going to be underwater.
When Barack Obama sells one of the 2 oceanside estates he has, either it's Robin's Nest or Martha's Vineyard, then I'll start to consider about insuring my condos. In the meantime, I will constantly, always call on the executive director of the CO2 Coalition, the author of A Very Convenient Warming, How Modest Warming and More CO2 is Benefiting We the Human Beings, and how fires that are started by Indians are benefiting pensioners in Canada. I added that last part. Gregory Wrightstone, thanks for always making time for me.
All right. Thank you, Shaun.
Thank you. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die. on The Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're watching the market, you may know that gold has pulled back more than 20% from its recent highs. Silver has fallen even further. History shows that this could be the perfect time to diversify your retirement portfolio to include precious metals like gold and silver. In crisis after crisis over the last 50 years, gold fell first, then surged to new highs as the crisis unfolded. That's why Advantage Gold wants to send you a free gold investment guide valued at $49, plus a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's best-selling book, Our Dollar, Your Problem, when you call 800-900-8000. In today's market, government debt has exploded to nearly $40 trillion, and central banks around the world continue buying gold at record levels. The smart money sees opportunity. If you're considering diversifying a retirement account with precious metals, tax and penalty-free, now is the best time to call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
If you're a tax-paying, law-abiding lover of America and the American dream, you need to be listening to Saving the American Dream with Jim Martyr. Every Saturday at 7 p.m., Jim tackles the issues that matter most: faith, family, freedom, and the fight to protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Saving the American Dream with Jim Martyr, heard Saturday evenings at 7, right here on AM 560 The Answer. Podcasts available at 560theanswer.com.
If moving safely around your home is a concern, you deserve clear answers, not a sales pitch. Access will help you improve home accessibility with practical solutions like lifts, grab bars, and home modifications, designed to fit your home, your needs, and budget. Experienced professionals will take the time to explain your options so you can make an informed decision. If staying safe and comfortable in your home matters to you, start with a free in-home consultation. Call Access at 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1862, Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Act, helping states create colleges focused on agriculture, mechanics, science, and practical education. The principle was not centralized control, it was opportunity. Lincoln's Morrill Act reminds us that America can support education without surrendering education to Washington. Why did it matter? Because a free nation needs citizens equipped to work, build, steward, and govern themselves. Scripture gives work a sacred weight. In Genesis, God placed man in the garden to work it and to keep it. Proverbs honors the one who works his land. Paul warns against idleness and calls believers to earn their bread. Why does that still matter today? Because education should form capable people under God, not dependent subjects under bureaucracy.
Facebook marketplace robber busted after showing off a victim's watch in a TikTok video. That's the kind of morons you're surrounded by. CPS student, cover band for Milli Vanilli, didn't quite make the cut. This simpleton buffoon named Jadon. I was, you know what, Squirrel? I was this close I said, I remember when the old lady was pregnant, I said, boy, if it's a boy, we're going to go with Jadon. Jadon Woods, scumbag thief extraordinaire, robber, burglar, holdup, guns, Chicago public school student, with a car that he didn't pay for, driving around casing joints. Whether you live on the north side, the south side, the west side, only you can protect your property. Make sure that at least you obstruct them with information and knowledge where you can lock your door if you forget. You know, if windows are closed, you can monitor your property 8 ways to Sunday. And there are 40 people working for Goldilocks Inc. that are doing it 24 hours a day, monitoring your property so they can at least call the authorities and they could come out and hopefully run them over because a Democrat prosecutor isn't going to do anything, but you have to do it. And you could do it at Goldilocks Inc. or call 708-889-5600 if you don't want Joe Don robbing your house without any obstruction. Goldilocks Inc. can secure your property. You'll never have to ask, I hope my door isn't open for Joe Don. I hope I can lock it from an app. The best app in all of alarm business, as far as I'm concerned, monitoring every inch of your property. Doesn't have to be residential. It can be a condo. It can be retail. It can be commercial or a warehouse, where Goldilocks Inc. can also build your doors, giving employees instant access, shutting it off when you think they're hanging around with Joe Don. Just call 708-889-5600. Mention my name, 3 months. Free monitoring online at GoldilocksInc.com. Not too big, not too small, just right. GoldilocksInc.com. When we get back, the lines are filling up. 312-642-5600 after Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun, in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Partly cloudy tonight and cooler with a low near 60. An officer's weapon fired during an arrest attempt in Chicago's North Lawndale neighborhood early this morning. Chicago police say officers were trying to arrest a man for possession of a stolen car in the 1600 block of South Drake when the suspect tried to disarm the officer and the officer's weapon discharged. Another long shot and last gasp offer of land for a new Bears stadium in Chicago. Democrat State Representative Curtis Tarver says the Bears should take a close look at more than 300 acres of underdeveloped land near 85th and Lakeshore Drive. Police are still looking for 2 persons of interest after a shooting in Highland Park. Tropical storm Bertha is moving closer to the Gulf Coast. The latest update from the Hurricane Center puts the storm southwest of Panama City, Florida. Cubs and Tigers at Wrigley tonight. White Sox in Texas. The news a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges, and you can join today at 560theanswer.com/join. Next news at 7. Continuous news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. And up next, a check on the evening commute with Jill Urchak.
Delay-free conditions on the outbound side of the Edens. Kennedy, 30 minutes. Downtown to O'Hare. Eisenhower, 40. Post Office to 390. Stevenson, watch out for an accident at Ashland off to the shoulder. It is 40 minutes out to 355. 20 minutes outbound Ryan, a little snug in the express. Garfield to Marquette. Outbound Ford is tied 115th to Bobby and Woods. And delays continue on DuSable Lakeshore Drive southbound and northbound, but it is much better. Tri-State scattered delays, improving very much though. Jane Addams, Reagan, and 355, those are in good shape. Traffic is a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com, Northwest Indiana's leading home builder. Steiner Homes, love where you live. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with cooler temperatures reaching a low of 60. On Wednesday, anticipate hazy sunshine and lower humidity levels with a high of 74. Wednesday night will bring a crystal clear sky and a low of 60. Thursday is set to be mostly sunny and delightful with a high of 79. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Today, we tip our wrench to Rock Auto customer Dylan.
I actually used to manage a parts department for a car dealership, and we would get stuff from Rock Auto if I couldn't get it from my dealership suppliers. You pick the year, you go through all the drop-down menus, and it just makes it really easy to navigate and see what you want. Like a wheel bearing, for instance, for a Corvair that I have. Rock Auto's catalog made it really easy to find that specific one that I was looking for.
All the parts your car will ever need, Rock Auto.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You push yourself in everything you do, scanning headlines for insights, keeping an eye on the market. Robinhood puts you in control of your money, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
Hey, it's Shaun Thompson. You know, one day it's market volatility. The next day, it's conflict overseas. Price jumps, confidence drops, and suddenly retirement feels less certain. When the latest headline pushes costs higher and stokes inflation fears, it can have a ripple effect on your investments and your budget. But here's the thing. Retirement shouldn't depend on perfect timing or on the latest geopolitical noise. Tom Fortino and the Alpha Wealth Group help families right here in the Chicago area build a plan to create income you can't outlive. Control taxes, minimize risk, protect your assets, and prepare an estate and legacy plan. It's their 5-pillar retirement planning. Ready to learn more? To get your complimentary retirement roadmap and a retirement analysis today, schedule a meeting with Tom Fortino and the people of Alpha Wealth Group by calling 630-864-6711. That number again, 630-864-6711, or online at alphawealthgroup.com.
Virago is fending off viruses and making America healthy again.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. I'm one of the co-founders of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Here are what some Virago users have to say.
I started using Virago a little more than a year ago. I have 3 school-aged kids, and they are constantly bringing home whatever bug is going around school, whether it's a cold, a sore throat, whatever it is. Everyone in the house was getting sick. I started taking Virago to help boost my immune system, and it worked. I haven't been sick since starting Virago. I use just a half a dose daily unless I feel like I'm getting something. Then I'll take a full dose for a day or two, and I'm fine. I also feel great and more on top of my game, like my memory is sharper. I'm not forgetting things. I absolutely recommend Virago.
Boost your immune system with Virago. Order your bottle today. Visit myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com.
And use promo code IMMUNE to get 30% off.
That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Old phonographs or music boxes? We are the experts. Consign yours. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560.
The Answer.
Hey, Squirrel, what's the story with this freak Democrat Chicago? I don't even think he's from Chicago, this Benton scumbag. Was it a girl he was harassing? Because I'll tell you what, he didn't look like he was into girls to me. But what the hell do I know? All these Democrats, there's something askew. Even this Chris Welch. You know who he looks like, Squirrel? Cecil, the turtle that used to beat Bugs Bunny. Looks just like ugly son of a gun, eh? Ugly! And stupid.
Springfield, a new report claims Illinois House leaders ignored reports of sexual harassment for years before taking action. It all stems from the recent investigation.
All right, Squirrel, I want $5 on a boy and a $5 parlay trans testicle, because I don't think it was a girl.
To former Representative Harry Benton. We've told you before he resigned from the House in June. WCIA 3's Capitol Bureau Chief Alex Whitney is live in Springfield. Alex, where is this new information coming from?
Tyler, 2 of Benton's victims are sharing their stories publicly for the first time, one from 2023 and another from 2026. And I've heard these same stories from sources here in Springfield since then. 5 months ago, I sent in a records request for Benton's emails and texts related to any state-issued email or
Oh, you must be young. They're not going to give you the text, Mo. They'll come up with some nifty excuse. They cover each other's derriere. They're scumbags, one and all.
We also have to talk about...
Here he is.
A new report claims Illinois House leaders ignored reports of sexual harassment for years before taking...
Whatever. They start that $40 million project kickback scheme, or that what is it called, gym rehab at Proviso West where he went to school. The brother was a janitor. No? What a great scam that is. Here he is, Cecil. Beat Bugs Bunny in a race. That's his big claim to fame. Ugly. Chris Welch.
Electronic device in his possession, but that FOIA request was denied. I was told it constituted personal correspondence
with his
and was
eyes,
thus
too.
exempt from FOIA. But these victims are telling a different
One's
story
always
and
looking
sharing their
north.
concerns about how the Speaker of the House handled it all. The mystery surrounding Representative Harry Benton has gone on for months. In February, House Speaker Chris Welch removed the Plainfield-based representative.
Well, he was Mike Madigan's lap dog, right? Did you sit on his lap, Chris? Did you let him spank you like you like to hit the girls? What do I know? Terry, Chirac.
Hey, Shaun, 3 quick things. Senator Hildebrand was telling Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth that Americans can't afford food. 12 years ago, I filed for food stamps. They denied me. They said I made $1,000 too much, so I guess I don't qualify for food.
No, now what you should do is you live in the right area. Open up one of those stores, put a can of peas on there, and pay 50 cents on the dollar like every other scumbag Democrat. Go ahead.
The other thing is I thought Washington was like Chicago. We don't want nobody that ain't been sent. And the last thing, because you're the Jacques Cousteau of radio, is they had volcanologists. Geologists said that the biggest threat to worldwide famine is a supervolcanic eruption off Java in Indonesia, the Ring of Fire, by the old Krakatoa. So there ain't nothing you can do about a supervolcanic
Did you know
eruption.
that Jacques Cousteau likes cigars? And do you also agree with me? Doesn't Chris Welch look like Cecil the turtle that beat Bugs Bunny?
I don't know, Shaun, because, how am I going to phrase this? I'm still in Chicago. I can't say nothing.
Oh, come on. What are you going to do, raise your taxes? They're going to do it to everybody. Greg and LaGrange.
Hey, Shaun, 3 things real quick.
All right. Go ahead.
One, I think we should be working with the Canadians to help put out their fires, and we might learn something a little bit with them.
Oh, learn something? What about those costumes they got on? Those sissy cousins of ours. I don't like the Canadians. Go ahead.
The second point I want to make is I know that Mark Carney was going to be a problem if he got in. I don't understand why our president didn't work with Pierre Poilievre or at least show some sort of support for him because he did everything he could to torpedo him. And in the end,
that was stupid. I give you that. That was stupid. In real time, I'm like, what the frack are you doing? But go ahead.
And the third thing is I don't understand his entire tariff policy, and I don't understand the 50% on Canada, especially in light of his speech last week talking about how the Chinese were so integral in compromising our elections and
there you go. You answered your own question, Hanson.
Why is he not tariffing China?
Wait a minute. First of all, you answered your own question. The Chinese corrupt communist government and the Canadian corrupt quasi-communists, calling themselves socialist, have been in bed working in conjunction to take down the big, bad, liberty-loving America since Pierre Trudeau was still sleeping with his son's mother and Studio 54 was still open. If you know the story of Pierre Trudeau, you want to talk about a scoundrel scumbag who went to China, what was supposed to be a 3-hour meeting with Mao Zedong when he was still alive, may he burn in hell 1,000 millenniums. And he stayed there for 3 weeks. And he went back to Canada, and Canada's entire foreign policy changed and is still with an underbelly of corruption from the Chinese Communist Party. That's the argument. That and then all the money in agreements that Joe Biden had with Canada that Carney is exploiting as he doesn't come through because they can't pay their end because Canada is broke as Chicago.
My only point in all of this and bringing up the tariffs is I thought the president bungled the tariff thing terribly, very bad. Bessent should have been handling most of it along with the guys in the background. I forgot the guy's name, the guys that negotiated. But the tariff, the way he handled tariffs, and the fact he's
Howard, Howard, what's his name that bought the property was Epstein's name? Yeah, that's it.
Right?
Yeah, that's it.
But the way that he applied tariffs is absolutely destructive to us, the United States.
In what way, Greg?
About adding more.
You're describing a lot of sizzle, but you can't tell me what the steak tastes like when you come to tariffs. What way did his tariffs ever affect you? Seriously, can you name one? One.
Well, the import of beef, the import of any number of goods like milk.
No, it's really called. We should stop calling it tariffs. It's Trump austerity and Trump threats. And when here's how you watch what tariffs do. When Walmart's revenue take a tremendous dip, then you can blame the tariffs. Until then, his tariffs did nothing to raise any costs for Americans. Nothing. They did nothing. He has caved every single country he's put him on. Because Mark Carney can't go back to his constituents and explain anything because Mark Carney is a stooge, a corporatist, fraud, scumbag asset of the Chinese communists. I don't care if he puts, I wouldn't even, you want to know what I would do? I wouldn't even tariff him. Embargo. My offer to you is this, nothing. Now take your sissy costumes to the Mounties and shove them. That's what I would tell Canada. But I don't like Canadians. 312-642-5600.
Call Shaun now. 312-642-5600.
Is the IRS throwing high heat like bank levies and wage garnishments and tax liens?
Play ball!
Are you down to your last strike?
Strike two!
When the IRS brings in their closer, you don't bunt. You bring in a power hitter.
That ball is out of here!
At PJN Tax Solutions Group, we go to bat against the IRS. PJN Tax Solutions Group is a local tax resolution firm located right here in St. Charles, Illinois. Don't call some 1-800-FIRM 10 states away. We're right here. Don't let the IRS steal your paycheck, and don't let them tag your bank account out at home plate. This isn't Little League. This is your financial future. Bases are loaded, 2 outs, and a full count. Are you swinging alone, or are you going to call in a professional? Call PJN Tax Solutions Group now at 630-415-5296. Once again, 630-415-5296. Or just Google, I want the IRS off my ASS.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1862, Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Act, helping states create colleges focused on agriculture, mechanics, science, and practical education. The principle was not centralized control, it was opportunity. Lincoln's Morrill Act reminds us that America can support education without surrendering education to Washington. Why did it matter? Because a free nation needs citizens equipped to work, build, steward, and govern themselves. Scripture gives work a sacred weight. In Genesis, God placed man in the garden to work it and to keep it. Proverbs honors the one who works his land. Paul warns against idleness and calls believers to earn their bread. Why does that still matter today? Because education should form capable people under God, not dependent subjects under bureaucracy.
AM 560, The Answer.
I wonder why we spend these nights together. Is this the
Live and die in L.A.? Yeah, you're not going to get me with that. And I know Gordon Lightfoot. I love Gordon Lightfoot. Gordon Lightfoot was not a socialist. See, Squirrel, you know what I mean. We've got Canadian listeners. I like them. Darcy Rhoda, love them. Greatest human being alive, next to Ivan Boldarev. I don't mind those Canadians, but those aren't the commie Canadians. What's there now? Communists. I don't like communists, whether they're in Canada or New York City. To me, they're the problem in the world. And when you talk about the Trudeaus, you know how many Canadians don't know that story about Pierre? Why? Same reason people can't figure out Barack Obama's a scumbag lying fraud and Joe Biden was his asset who hid Larry Sinclair so people could think that Michelle and him were heterosexual. Not. First gay president. Come out. Just say it, Barack. We know. Reggie Love. Either that or start singing You and Your Shadow. Glenn, Orlando.
Shaun, I was thinking a bit about when Trump announced that the Chinese had compromised a lot of our data. So are they using that data to determine where our military is around the world with locations and everything?
I hope so, because I'd really like to get this started while I'm in shape. Because you know what I always learned about kicking a Chinaman's ass? 15 minutes later, you're ready to do another one. Bring it on, sissies! Sick and tired of these Chinese communist bastards. Tim, South Suburbs.
Hey, Shaun, I was wondering,
Just wondering how to work the phone. You got to keep it open if it's a flip phone. And if it's a smartphone, don't put it next to your head if you're dumb. It'll shut off automatically. John in Westmont.
Hey, I want to know if the Fatawis are doing this
firefighting in Canada. I mean, that's a tribe that would actually, pad their own bed.
Is that their version of it? You know what I always liked is I only learned about a couple. Number one, the Hobies in Arizona. Heads like I haven't seen a head like that since Wolf used to work at the radio station. Bruce Wolf.
That's true.
Oh, I don't know. And the Comanche, enemy of all. Those are the only two Indian tribes I know. The ones with a head like Bruce Wolf, and the other ones who were the enemy of all and killed and enslaved all the other Indians. I don't know about the Canadian Indians, but they appear to get those fireman pensions after they start the Canadian fires. Just call them wild, like we did in California. California, remember all that? Ooh, they were wildfires. Really? How many times did a professor at USC be caught starting the fire, plead guilty? What do they have, 2 of them or 3, Squirrel? Oh, yeah, you're right. The other one was at that school on the coast. You're exactly right. But a professor nonetheless. It's funny how things appear to be natural, but it's all crafted. Crafted scandals, crafted fraud. You know who was talking about this? Richard Gere. By the way, did you ever see American Gigolo? Absolutely fantastic. The guy who played him is a moron.
USAID was probably the most pure thing that America did. He stopped that day one. It was insane. And he has idiots around him who have the same ignorance about it. Are we ashamed of it? Yes.
Hey, Richard, unless somebody else writes it down and tells you how to say it, shut the frack up, moron. USAID was the most pure thing? What are you, the dumbest actor in Hollywood? And that is saying something. Here is an African politician representative. She's telling you, with that, I do think this is a fantastic accent, by the way. She's telling you what USAID was.
We need to understand the real reason why USAID is in Africa. And not just USAID, but other NGOs. You look at DFID, which is the British equivalent, and many other smaller ones. Their sole purpose was to act as if they're coming to rescue Africa. They are coming in claiming that they're introducing grassroots initiatives that are going to help the people. And so they use that as a way to go into the most remote parts of Africa. When you look at it on paper, it all looks really good. But they're actually wolf in sheep's clothing.
Now there she is, an African politician explaining what it is. Here's a ex-CIA operative, Mike Benz.
USAID gave $5 million to Open Society Foundation Macedonia. $5 million, a direct grantee. With the help of then-President Barack Obama's U.S. ambassador to Macedonia, the U.S. government spent millions of taxpayer dollars to destabilize the Democrat.
Richard Gere, did you know about that? Richard Gere, we have an African that wants to ask you a question.
Mr. Should I call you Mr.? Pepe Julian Onzima, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
Good morning.
Me. Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay. You are a transgender.
What shows that I'm gay?
You are a transgender, yes, and you're a gay rights activist.
I think you, Richard Gere, Reggie Love, Larry Sinclair, and Barack. We'll be back in 21.
Rick Borick talks about the emotions of stock